to, visualize what if we didn't win, leading up to the game. And then slowly, as you get closer to the game, you allow yourself to kind of push the negative feelings aside, and you start to fill yourself up with all the great things that are going to happen and what you need to do to execute the game plan. And of course, ultimately to seeing yourself, holding the trophy. And then as the game starts, all the negative and the positive go away. And then you drill yourself down into, just executing the game plan. And, you don't think about the what ifs and what should have been or what could have been. You just really kind of play in the moment. And I think trust becomes a massive word when you think about it. Can I trust each one of the players that are going out there to not only to do their part from a strategic standpoint, be in the right position, be in the right places at the right time, but not get undisciplined and take poor penalties at the wrong time because their ego is bruised and someone took advantage of them, then being able to hold all that in check. So there's just so many dynamics to think about for a team in order to overcome all the obstacles to win a championship. And it's fascinating to me. It's one of the reasons I was able to play 26 years, because once you do it, you understand how fun it is, but also how complicated and intricate it is to kind of get not only the team from a physical standpoint to come together, but how a team comes together emotionally, mentally, and the spirituality around a team, and the respect that lives inside that locker room is incredible.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Monday, April the 14th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Detroit Red Wings take on the Dallas Stars. Red Wings on XM219 Internet 929, Stars on Internet 928. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers face the New York Rangers. Panthers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 931, Rangers on Internet 938. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Chicago Blackhawks. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 167 Internet 934, Blackhawks on Internet 925. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the Utah Hockey Club. Preds on XM220 Internet 935, Utah on Internet 947. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Kings on Internet 932. 10 p.m., Vancouver Canucks face the San Jose Sharks. Canucks on Sirius and XM channels 167 Internet 948, Sharks on Internet 942. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Monday, April the 14th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Detroit Red Wings take on the Dallas Stars. Red Wings on XM219 Internet 929, Stars on Internet 928. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers face the New York Rangers. Panthers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 931, Rangers on Internet 938. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Chicago Blackhawks. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 167 Internet 934, Blackhawks on Internet 925. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the Utah Hockey Club. Preds on XM220 Internet 935, Utah on Internet 947. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Kings on Internet 932.
SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio is the place for expert advice, strategy, and information from the best fantasy sports analysis to win your league. Plus, hear pick-by-pick coverage of live drafts and interviews with top players, coaches, and team executives on SiriusXM 87.
Tampa Bay Lightning head coach John Cooper stopped by for a morning skate with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio on SiriusXM Channel 91 to talk the keys to his success over the years and the challenge of getting to the Stanley Cup Final 3 years in a row.
John, I'm going to ask you to be a little bit self-analytical and, being in the business that you're in and knowing how successful you've been and what drives you and motivates you. What do you think has been the key to your success over the years? I mean, every league you've been in, you've won, you've had the staying power, and you've had all kinds of championship pedigree. If you say, hey, look, I'm still going strong, I'm still chasing another ring, what is it that keeps you going, and what is it in particular that you feel has made you as successful as you've been?
I would say there's a couple things. Internally, it's the fire is still burning. As I think that first and foremost is the biggest thing, because when you lose your passion for it, and I've watched it happen to people, then you might as well you should get yourself out, because you're just doing yourself and your team a disservice. So that passion is first and foremost the big thing. I would sit here say on the other side of things, like Jeff Vinnick as an owner, and it kind of goes back to the previous question about stability. And that's one of the things we've had. And so Julian Breesbaugh was my general manager in the minors and now the NHL. So we've been together for how many years? We had Steve Yzerman in the early part of that, and he kind of was like the mentor. He was the actual one that brought me in, but we've had that stability. Only 2 GMs, but both of them work together. We've had one owner, one coach, basically, since I've been there, one captain, and it's this core group of guys that have all stuck together. And I think we've kind of, I don't know how to explain it, you've kind of passed the coach-player relationship because we've been there so long, and we all just have this common goal of what we need to do. And there's a lot of pride, a lot of passion with the group of guys we have, and then Julian's done a great job of kind of filling in. And when I say fill in, it's like getting the Nick Pauls, getting the Brandon Hagels, guys that are still long-term guys but that weren't, pseudo drafted into our system. And it's, we've been really fortunate that it's worked out the way it has. But I truly believe the stability, the belief, and the passion of the same group of people that have been together, and that's what's really helped us. It takes its toll, both physically and mentally. And I give our players credit, to come back and make the playoffs the next year. But, now we've been one and done for 2 years. We've had some breaks. We've had a little bit of turnover. And we need to get back. We need to get back to those, making some runs in the playoffs. And but I will sit here and say, I'd be remiss to say, those years, they do take a toll. And maybe it has taken a toll in the last, couple of years on us. And but I can tell now that, a couple of years of being bounced in the first round, it's just a different vibe coming in, especially this year of seeing all the players. And there's an energy I haven't felt in a while. And I think part of that is because we have been bounced, in the last 2 years.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. SiriusXM Fight Nation, SiriusXM 156, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Monday, April the 14th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Detroit Red Wings take on the Dallas Stars. Red Wings on XM219 Internet 929, Stars on Internet 928. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers face the New York Rangers. Panthers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 931, Rangers on Internet 938. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Chicago Blackhawks. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 167 Internet 934, Blackhawks on Internet 925. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the Utah Hockey Club. Preds on XM220 Internet 935, Utah on Internet 947. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Kings on Internet 932. 10 p.m., Vancouver Canucks face the San Jose Sharks. Canucks on Sirius and XM channels 167 Internet 948, Sharks on Internet 942. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Monday, April the 14th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Detroit Red Wings take on the Dallas Stars. Red Wings on XM219 Internet 929, Stars on Internet 928. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers face the New York Rangers. Panthers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 931, Rangers on Internet 938. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Chicago Blackhawks. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 167 Internet 934, Blackhawks on Internet 925. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the Utah Hockey Club. Preds on XM220 Internet 935, Utah on Internet 947. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Kings on Internet 932.
Mad Dog Sports Radio has the best sports talk in the business, covering sports with a passion and knowledge you need. Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM 86, and the SXM app.
Iron Mike Keenan, former NHL head coach, came on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. That's Sirius XM Channel 91. He was on to promote his new book, Iron Mike, My Life Behind the Bench, and he took some time to talk about his career, specifically the regrets and the influences.
When you get a chance to sit down now and you think back on all these times, any regrets?
Yeah, of course you have regrets. I had the heat turned up quite a bit at my own distraction. So I could have, and I evolved, and even Greg, you just mentioned Greg Gilbert. He said, Mike, you're completely different here in New York than you were in Chicago. So you learn from your own mistakes. And for some reason, I was so driven. I took it personally if we lost. Personally. And I was miserable. And I could have probably managed the principles of my coaching career and what I thought was important. I would always stay intact with those, but the methodology could have been turned down a bit and probably
A little too intense?
A little bit smoother.
A little too intense?
At times, for sure. For sure.
Now, big names, Scotty Bowman, Roger Nielsen, Tom Watt. I mean, I don't know, mentors, friends. How did they all influence Mike Keenan?
Well, first of all, I played for Tom at University of Toronto, and then we developed a close relationship, and I would talk to him a lot about coaching. Now I'm in Peterborough. He'd come and see me, and we developed sort of a minor league team for him because the guys that couldn't play for U of T right away, like Mike Polino, come out to play with me in Oshawa. And so we developed a relationship that way. But we talked a lot about hockey. He taught me more about hockey than anybody else. And then Roger and I had a relationship through Peterborough. We're getting now into the sort of the technical part of video replay and how that. And then I got Scotty Bowman, the greatest ever. He hires me for the first time. Probably saw a little bit of himself in me. And he's calling me in the middle of the night after every game. He drives home from Rochester, and at 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm not exaggerating, sometimes an hour conversation in the middle of the night. Why did you put Bob Mongrain on the penalty killing at that time? Like, okay, Scotty. But he was just, and he would test me all the time, and I just give him a firm belief in what I thought was right, and he respected that. So it was interesting and then we became friends over the years. It was a real 3 guys that really influenced my career.
That was Iron Mike Keenan, former NHL head coach and author of Iron Mike, My Life Behind the Bench. He was in conversation with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for the Morning Skate on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. That's Sirius XM Channel 91.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. Sirius XM Channel 89.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Monday, April the 14th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Detroit Red Wings take on the Dallas Stars. Red Wings on XM219 Internet 929, Stars on Internet 928. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers face the New York Rangers. Panthers on Sirius XM channels 91 Internet 931, Rangers on Internet 938. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Chicago Blackhawks. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 167 Internet 934, Blackhawks on Internet 925. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the Utah Hockey Club. Preds on XM220 Internet 935, Utah on Internet 947. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius XM channels 91 Internet 930, Kings on Internet 932. 10 p.m. Vancouver Canucks face the San Jose Sharks. Canucks on Sirius XM channels 167 Internet 948, Sharks on Internet 942. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Monday, April the 14th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Detroit Red Wings take on the Dallas Stars. Red Wings on XM219 Internet 929, Stars on Internet 928. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers face the New York Rangers. Panthers on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 931. Rangers on Internet 938. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Chicago Blackhawks. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 934. Blackhawks on Internet 925. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the Utah Hockey Club. Preds on XM220, Internet 935. Utah on Internet 947. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 930. Kings on Internet 932.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio. SiriusXM 86.
Former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan came on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, and he was asked about the long Alexei Kovalev shift during his time in New York, and he shared his side of the story about the skilled offensive talent that was Kovalev.
The Alexei Kovalev shift. I've heard 7 minutes. I've heard 9 minutes. Hey, you stay out there. You kind of figure it out. Describe to us what went into that. How long was a shift? Certainly Kovalev was a talent, that's for sure, but he was a bit of an enigma.
Super talent.
Yes.
And talented people sometimes are elusive. And Alex, I try to explain to him, you're getting 20 minutes, and I don't want the shifts to be 1 minute, so you have 20 shifts. I'm going to give you 40 shifts at 30 seconds so you can build the intensity up. Understand? Yeah, I understand, Mike. Goes out there. Of course, it's a minute and a half. I said, now, Alex, the guy that's supposed to be playing behind you just missed his shift because now we're going to the next rotation. You're out there for 2 rotations. Okay, Michael. So, again, next thing, does it again. So I said, oh, my God. So I said, okay, guys, this time when he comes back to the bench, it's now going to overextend his shift. He's going to be a little tired. Don't open the doors. He comes over and I said, get out. He thinks I love him now. Get back out there, I said. So then he comes over again. And now I said, guys, he's going to want to climb into the bench because he's done. I said, when he comes over, puts his leg up, push him back out. And they pushed him. But now they are laughing on the bench. This is in New York City. Right during the game. Back there. So Alex figures it out. He scores a goal in the middle of this shift.
Wow.
He gets himself a rest. Stays out there. Finishes the period. So I think it's about 9 minutes. I walk off the bench and said, Mess, explain it to him, will you, please? He said, I will. Don't worry. I'll look after it. So as a result, we fast forward now to the playoffs in Game 6, playing New Jersey. In the Jersey series, I double shifted him. When he had to come back, and he was electrifying. Mess got the 3 goals, but Alex was a horse. And it's very talented, powerful. And the problem was he was so efficient that he could stay out, but he didn't grasp the concept of just picking up the intensity. You could see him. He could dangle and hang onto the puck and nobody could take it from him. He was resting while he was out there. So
in essence, it was a bit of a training ground for what was to come against the Devils at the most important time.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it turned out to be a good lesson for him because that's what he did in that game. 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I just said, Alex, I'm going to double shift you. Get ready. Don't be out too long.
That was former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan in conversation with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin for the morning skate on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. That's SiriusXM Channel 91.
SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 brings you expert analysis from former players, coaches, and executives, plus reaction to all the latest news on the only 24/7 station dedicated to the National Football League.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Monday, April the 14th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Detroit Red Wings take on the Dallas Stars. Red Wings on XM219 Internet 929, Stars on Internet 928. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers face the New York Rangers. Panthers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 931, Rangers on Internet 938. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Chicago Blackhawks. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 167 Internet 934, Blackhawks on Internet 925. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the Utah Hockey Club. Preds on XM220 Internet 935, Utah on Internet 947. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Kings on Internet 932. 10 p.m., Vancouver Canucks face the San Jose Sharks. Canucks on Sirius and XM channels 167 Internet 948, Sharks on Internet 942. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Monday, April the 14th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Detroit Red Wings take on the Dallas Stars. Red Wings on XM219 Internet 929, Stars on Internet 928. 7 p.m., Florida Panthers face the New York Rangers. Panthers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 931, Rangers on Internet 938. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Chicago Blackhawks. Canadiens on Sirius and XM channels 167 Internet 934, Blackhawks on Internet 925. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the Utah Hockey Club. Preds on XM220 Internet 935, Utah on Internet 947. 10 p.m., Edmonton Oilers take on the LA Kings. Oilers on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 930, Kings on Internet 932.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
Former Buffalo Sabres head coach Don Granato was on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio Channel 91 to talk about how different today's athletes are, as well as what it's been like to watch Austin Matthews grow.
It's really a switch in the last 10 years. First birth year I had at the national team program was 95 birth year. So it was JT Compher, Tyler Mott, that group. You have them for 2 years, so the next birth year coming in was the 97s, which was prolific. It was Austin Matthews and Matthew Tkachuk and McAvoy and Hanifin, Werenski. And I remember talking to the coaches back then that this birth year is way different than the 95 birth year. And this summer, ironically, I picked up a book that titled The Anxious Generation. And I thought it was very well documented, and the author used the iPhone. And the iPhone came out in 2008 or 6, somewhere in that range. But social media didn't hit hard on the iPhone where you could rate a kid's looks if you're a high school student. And so judging other people on a social media app on the iPhone was about 2013. And so now you think about all these kids going to high school, and we never had this. They could be made fun of on social media. They don't even know it, and they're walking out of a classroom and people are laughing. Yeah. So it's a different world we all live in because we're all criticized and compared to more and faster. And with that, you need to balance that with support. And I think, lots of coaches that have gone that I watch around the league in the NHL, there's a lot of great coaches and a lot of good young coaches that are really good at that. The X's and O's, I say to people, are easy now. When the X's and O's are a very simple part of hockey. It's connecting with people and getting people motivated and excited. And that's changed dramatically. X's and O's became big when video hit the computer. You could watch 100 or 1,000 forechecks over and over and over and say, okay, these are the key components on a forecheck. And so, you didn't have to be in the NHL to become better at that. So that's the easy part. I just can't imagine doing this or that I did it. I called Brian Matthews one time in Austin's U17 year. And I said, Brian, do you have any idea how good your son is? And his reply was no. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you, what is this conversation? And I had to explain to him, I said, I think this is what's going to happen, Austin. I said, You honestly have to prepare for your life to become very chaotic and crazy. And lo and behold, he gets drafted in Toronto instead of some different market. And we know how crazy it can be here.
Oh, yeah.
But and then the last thing I'll say on it is I remember leading up to the draft, lots of people said, can he handle Toronto? And I thought, absolutely, no problem. And the biggest thing for me is when a young player comes in the league, and we talked about it earlier, if they're a -2 or 3 and they have a really tough night, you get to know how they're going to respond. And some that breaks their confidence, and maybe they need a stint in the AHL. You got to get them out of the pressure. Mm-hmm. But Austin was so good that if that happened, and when it's happened in his career, it doesn't hurt his confidence. He knows that he's in that category of player that I know I can redeem myself just get me to the next game now. And they can do, the best players can do that. And that's a different echelon of player at the NHL level that can do that. So if you look at the top players in the NHL, their confidence is not going to break. The guys right under that, they have a bad night. They may not want that next game.
Hear it all on demand. Your favorite shows, your favorite games. Don't miss a second of your favorite SiriusXM programming on demand with the SiriusXM app. Download it now for free.
I'm Frank Track.
Get up. Penalty is over. On the right side, Bouchard to Perry across. Scores! At the side of the net was Adam Henrique, and he bats it in. And the Oilers have a 2-1 lead, and Sandberg about to be attended to, and the crowd is not happy. A puck to the left wing corner. Kulak high in the air and out. It's bouncing. Arvidsson's got it into the Jets end. The backhand scores! Arvidsson banked it off. A Jet skated in, and the Edmonton Oilers are up 4-1 with the empty netter.
Past the victory for Edmonton. They outshot Winnipeg 39-18. Lowest shot total the Jets had all year. Jets sat out several players. Edmonton's been sitting out a bunch for a while. The Oilers are used to playing without some of their big horses. Local Ties is brought to you by Sobeys and Safeway. Liquor, wine, spirits, beer, and so much more. Warren Foegele returns. 20 goals last season, 22 this season, 43 points, plus 32. Of course, he spent 3 seasons with the Edmonton Oilers. We go to Legacy Heating and Cooling. Who's hot and who's not? Legacy Heating and Cooling, home and no payments and no injuries for a year. Well, no Connor McDavid tonight. The LA Kings are happy because McDavid has 44 points in 34 games in his NHL regular season career. But in the playoffs, 36 points in 18 playoff games, and that will be a storyline to watch as the Oilers' power play has gone 24 for 50 over the last 3 years in the playoffs against LA, which is 48%. May I add. The out-of-town scoreboard for Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. We will tell you, the Montreal Canadiens picked up a point. They got a goal in the final 5 minutes against Chicago, but lost in the shootout. Had the Canadiens won that game, they would have clinched a playoff spot. So Columbus is 4 points behind them. Canadiens got 1 game left with Carolina. The Blue Jackets got a couple left against the Islanders and the Philadelphia Flyers. So Montreal closing in on a spot, but didn't quite clinch her tonight. Meanwhile, Utah leads Nashville 4-3. 2 teams that won't make the playoffs this year. Detroit a 6-4 victory over Dallas. Stars taking a little bit of taking on some water, some injuries on the back end. And the Rangers beat the Florida Panthers 5-3. Florida's been dealing with some injury issues of their own. Bakersfield tomorrow hosts Abbotsford, one of the best teams in the Pacific Division of the American Hockey League. Stay tuned following the game for the Alberta Blue Cross Travel Insurance. Goal of the game, health, dental, travel. We got the coverage you need. Visit ab.bluecross.ca. 12 minutes to face off. This is Rogers Game Night on the Oilers Radio Network.
At Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, they recommend pairing locally distilled spirits and their ice-cold beer selection with... And Oilers win! Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, proud partners and fans of the Edmonton Oilers. Please enjoy responsibly.
Our people, our team. It's what business owners almost always say is their most important resource. But strong businesses don't just find great people. They make sure their teams stay healthy, engaged, and performing at their best. A benefits plan from Alberta Blue Cross is more than just drug and dental. They support the whole person with flexible coverage levels that fit the size and circumstance of your business. Find a plan that gets results at ab.bluecross.ca.
At Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, they recommend pairing locally distilled spirits and their ice-cold beer selection with... And Oilers win! Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, proud partners and fans of the Edmonton Oilers. Please enjoy responsibly.
This is Rogers Game Night on the Oilers Radio Network.
I'm sure he's a good player. Obviously, he's had a good college career. Skated with him for about 3 minutes, so it's hard to say anything else. But I'm sure he's excited. So I think the plan is for him to go tonight. I'm not 100% sure, but so it'll be exciting to see him out there.
That's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who is in. Connor McDavid sits this one out in the second of a back-to-back. The Oilers and the Kings are going to play each other round number one here. And Nugent-Hopkins talking about the addition of Quinn Hudson out of Boston University. And he had these comments on his goals for the next two games. The Oilers burn a year, by the way, in his entry-level deal, signing him to a 2-year deal because he's a 23-year-old player. And that's the cost of doing business for NCAA free agents at that age. Here's Hudson on his goals for the next two games.
I just want to show that I could play here. I want to show what my role will be in the future, and I think these next two games will be good practice for what that'll look like.
All right, the Scoreboard Inside the Game analyst Rob Brown. And Rob, the system favors some of the NCAA players. The Oilers haven't pulled a lot of guys out of Boston University or Boston College over the years. I had Rob Hudson on the show, Quinn's dad, and he said that he wanted Quinn to come to Edmonton. Of course, Rob grew up here in Edmonton before he played at the University of Chicago, Illinois back in the day and settled down there. It's quite the family. It's a religious family.
There's some pretty good families in the United States. You got the Hughes, you got the Hudsons, you got the Kachucks. Something about the water down there. It doesn't just bless one child, it blesses all of them. I don't know much about Quinn.
Yep.
I've watched Lane, and I've seen the highlights. What's the other kid?
Cole.
So there's some talent in this family. If this kid turns out to be half as good as the kid in Montreal, the Oilers have got a fantastic signing here. It is interesting, and this is a sign of where the Oilers are right now as a franchise, as opposed to years ago, that he decided to sign here. I mean, this is a team that they're top-heavy skill-wise. They've got players that are already signed yet. This is a skilled player. This isn't a kid that's going to be a bottom six player.
No.
This is a guy that's got skill and is going to be playing in your top six at some point. The fact that he still believes that he can make this team shows the confidence the kid has, and obviously the confidence the organization has for him going forward.
All right, a sequence of moves made today. So Noah Philp, who played really well,
very, very well
in the 3 games, temporarily goes back to Bakersfield. I have a feeling he'll be in San Jose to close out the regular season, and then he'll be one of the Black Aces for the playoffs. So Noah Philp and Derek Ryan have been loaned back to Bakersfield because yesterday Troy Stetcher didn't finish the game. Yep. Josh Brown will play his 9th game this season. He's been an emergency recalled, and then they needed to make the cap space to have Quinn Hudson in. So your thoughts on those machinations before we get to the higher end guys?
Well, obviously, it's kind of neat seeing Hudson play in a game that, I mean, it means something, but seriously, if it meant everything, some of the other players would be back in the lineup. So you get one of the cool things, you get to see the young player in Hudson play tonight. You get to see Brown, who, at the beginning of the season when they signed him, this was a guy that was supposed to be their number 6-7 defenseman. Yep. Big, strong, mean defenseman. Things did not work out well for him. Who knows with injuries to Ekholm, and I have no idea how long Klingberg or Stetcher, Brown possibly at some point could be in the lineup. So he's now challenging with an Emberson or a Deneen for ice time moving forward. It sucks for players like a Philp or a Derek Ryan that got sent down. Derek Ryan played very well last game as well. But numbers, salary cap, force, and the number of injuries the Oilers have forced the Oilers to make a bunch of moves I don't think that Stan Bowman was anticipating making at this time of the season.
So tell me this. How do we assess tonight's game? Tanner Jeannot was relegated to 4th line for LA.
They're missing one player. They're missing Emberson. Who, Bob, is going to be...
Joel Edmondson is a good player.
He would be a factor in a series. If
he'll be back. He'll likely play in round.
If he doesn't, that's a big loss for the LA Kings. This is a game the LA Kings have to win for a couple of reasons. One, if you want to send a message going forward, the message better not be we're going to lose to a bunch of players that don't have Connor and Leon and Hyman and a number of the better players. That is not a confidence builder going into the playoffs for the LA Kings. 2, and we've seen it all around the National Hockey League, and you see it here in Edmonton. The LA Kings, if they clinch second tonight, they can sit players over the next 2 games. If the LA Kings don't clinch second tonight, they're going to have to play players in the next 2 games to try to get that extra points they needed. And as we see, every time you play a game, especially one really that's not that important, you risk having someone getting injured. The LA Kings want that. They want it to finish tonight. They want to win tonight, get second place, and then we can all start talking about when that series starts.
Well, now, and here's where we say the Oilers are 6-2 in LA over the last 3 years of the playoffs and have gone 24 for 50 on the power play against them. And oh, by the way, in theory, they should have that first power play unit back. We expect McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman all to play game one.
To me, Bob, and I've said it all along, home ice advantage means nothing to the Edmonton Oilers.
I agree.
I think they're that good a team. Home ice advantage means everything to the LA Kings because they are not as good on the road. They're not even close to as good on the road. If the Oilers are healthy going into the playoffs, they would be favored even if they're starting on the road. But the LA Kings have to have something to hang their hat on. Home ice in the first round will be something for them to use as a motivating tool in this game and going forward.
All right, let's go to the Ford Keys to Game, brought to you by Ford, the official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, built Ford proud.
Well, there's 2 things. A, first of all, don't anyone else get hurt. The Oilers can't afford that. And number 2, details. I mean, a number of the players playing tonight will be playing further down the lineup game 1 of the playoffs, but they're still going to be playing. Get all your details right. Getting pucks in, getting pucks out, pucks along boards, not making a big mistake, puck management. All of those things are things that all these players playing tonight have to concentrate on. You're playing a good LA team. LA's good. Let's not kid ourselves. LA's a good team.
Are they better than they've been the last 3 years?
Yes, they are. And the biggest reason, they got a real goaltender now.
Yeah.
That is a good goaltender. Darcy Kemper's numbers are fantastic. They are a better team, but the Edmonton Oilers tonight just played the proper way because this is your second last preparation game before the real games start.
That's our Inside the Game analyst, Rob Brown. More with Rob Brown and Bryn Griffiths during the end of the roll, first and second intermission. Rob Brown will join us post-game as well. Jack Michaels has got the call of tonight's game, and he's ready to go. He's jacked, he's pumped, he's stoked. It's the Edmonton Oilers, the LA Kings. A version of the dress rehearsal? Well, perhaps with some understudies. Coming up next on Ford Dealers NHL Hockey and the Oilers Radio Network.
Oil Country, you never miss an Oilers game. Join your fellow fans at Molson Canadian Oil Country headquarter locations every game day. Visit oilcountryhq.com to find out where you can enjoy the game next with a pint of Molson Canadian, the official beer sponsor of the Edmonton Oilers.
Blue collar work deserves big dollar perks. Get a heavy wallet with Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals. Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals is hiring heavy equipment technicians, maintenance supervisors, PM servicemen, maintenance coordinators, and pretty much every other position that makes Alberta go. We help move the earth that makes Alberta grow. So why not work for a company that makes your bank account grow too? Visit heavymetalequipment.ca to find your new career. Heavy Metal Equipment and Rentals, helping you move the earth.
Hey, Edmonton. Ever think about who gets your hard-earned money when you buy groceries or gas? For all you know, it could be buying a second yacht or private jet. But at Co-op, they put it right back into the community. That's because they're owned by 120,000 everyday Edmontonians, not a corporation. Feel good about where your money goes when you shop Co-op. Visit in store for details.
Did you know the RCMP polices over 99% of Alberta's landscape? From the oil sands to the Rockies to the prairies, the RCMP has a province covered. Providing policing services to more than 1,700 communities and with over 150 career specializations, the Alberta RCMP has something to fit everyone's goals and lifestyles. Visit rcmpcareers.ca and take the next step towards your career with the Alberta RCMP. A message from the Government of Canada.
Oil Country, you never miss an Oilers game. Join your fellow fans at Molson Canadian Oil Country headquarter locations every game day. Visit oilcountryhq.com to find out where you can enjoy the game next with a pint of Molson Canadian, the official beer sponsor of the Edmonton Oilers.
It's red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Now, tonight's exclusive NHL broadcast.
Shoots and scores! But now it's Draisaitl off to Connor McDavid. Centers Kane for the hat trick. He scores!
All the action called by the voices who know the game inside and out.
This crowd explodes!
Bob Stauffer and Jack Michaels on the Oilers Radio Network.
Well, it was Fan Appreciation Night when the Oilers won their third consecutive home game at the expense of the San Jose Sharks on Friday night. The Oilers then went to Winnipeg and beat the Jets, the President's Trophy winners, the first Canadian team to do that in 13 years. And that set up this matchup. Edmonton, Los Angeles, with home ice advantage in the first round, still out there. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer, welcome inside Rogers Place, and we're set for the face-off. It'll be taken by Matthias Janmark, and Darnell Nurse has some stick issues, or so it would appear. He is sitting at the Oiler bench, and the delay will be a minute or two here. It allows me to tell you that Bouchard will be skating alongside Nurse. Janmark centers Arvidsson and Podkolzin. Now we're underway with the Oilers starting lineup, brought to you by Coventry Homes. Janmark lining up against Philip Deneau, the Oilers in the blue, the Kings in the white, silver, and black, needing one win in their final three games to secure home ice advantage in what will be a fourth consecutive playoff series between these two clubs. And we're underway now. Officially, the Kings dump it in. Deneau working with Trevor Moore. LA comes off a 5-4 victory over Colorado on Saturday afternoon. The Oilers, second of a back-to-back. They're 8-5 in that situation this year. Bouchard to Nurse. A shot sails wide of Darcy Kemper, who just had a 15-game streak where he gave up 2 goals or less, snapped by Colorado on Saturday, and yet he still won. He's 30-11-7. Calvin Pickard, 22-9-1 in net for Edmonton. Kings get it in deep, and we're going to have a penalty called right off the hop here. Bouchard, 48 seconds in. Coventry Homes, flexibility within reach. Get back in the game with customizable designs by Coventry Homes, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers. Bob, as you know, LA has 2 weak spots. Number 1, they don't play very well away from home, and number 2, their power play hasn't been good all year.
Well, free one here. Unfortunately, Jeff Skinner couldn't pick up a wraparound around the boards, and Bouchard got caught in no man's land. Kings power play is 28th in the league, Jack, and the Oilers penalty kill has moved up to a high point all season long at 16th.
Off the draw, here's Andrei Kopitar, killing 18 of the last 19. They had a streak of 17 in a row, snapped by the Jets last night, and still won the hockey game 4-1. The 4 goals on the road marked the first time in 15 games Edmonton had gotten to 4 away from home. Here's Kopitar, gaining the line off to Kevin Fiala, having a career year with 34 goals. Around the boards, held in by Brant Clark. LA without Joel Edmondson tonight, but they do get Drew Doughty back. He'd missed the last several games. Actually was hurt 9 days ago in the win over Edmonton, 3-0. That was last Saturday. Andrei Kopitar tried to center. That went off a skate. The Oilers are 1-1-1 against the Kings this year. Kempe to Kopitar. Dish down low, and Andrei Kuzmenko has been a revelation since joining Los Angeles. Force feeds it into Byfield. One-timer coming. A save made by Calvin Pickard up top against Kempe, who steps in. Dishes off. Tough pass. Back foot. One-timer not available for Brant Clark, so he'll go behind the net. It's Kopitar. 14th 20-goal campaign already secured for Kopitar. Pass initially stymied by Connor Brown, and then he made another play, jabbing the stick at a cross-seamer, and then LA offside. Kuzmenko knows it, and because that pass was delivered out near the LA blue line, face-off comes on the dot right in front of the LA bench. 36 seconds left in this Napa Auto Parts penalty kill. Napa.
Kuzmenko, you mentioned, he's been a good fit here. 5 goals, 16 points, 19 games, plus 10, playing on the KKK line with Kopitar and Kempe.
12 points in his last 7. Kings, this year, though, the 23rd best record away from home. They've been absolute money on home ice, not so much on the road. Doughty pounds one toward the net. It was deflected right back to him. He basically conceded he's not going to be at full strength this year. Pickard a tough right skate save on Trevor Moore, who grew up in the shadow of LA's Crypto.com arena. Moore controlling behind the Oiler net as the power play winds down. Lost the handle, stepping up with a blast, and that was tipped wide of Pickard and then poked home on the rebound by Warren Foegele, who extends his own career high with his 23rd of the season. Past 3 years an Oiler, he comes back to Edmonton and scores, and the Kings take a 1-0 lead.
Well, Fogel's had an incredible year. He's now plus 33 on the season. Edmonton couldn't vacate the zone as Brown and Nurse were out there at the end of the PK, and Edmonton couldn't get it out. And unfortunately for Edmonton, a hard ricochet off the backboards, and Foegele quickly pounced on the rebound. It's 1-0 Los Angeles.
Foegele actually tipped the initial shot, and as you said, then when the live hop came off the end boards, he was able to whack it home. Quinn Hudson, his NHL debut, played in the national championship game for Boston University, a 6-2 loss to Western Michigan on Saturday night. Said he's not nearly over that one, but he makes his NHL debut tonight at age 23. After 3 years at BU, following 2 seasons in the United States Hockey League, and here's an icing call coming, whistled against Edmonton. And Quinn Hudson, a guy, Bob, obviously his younger brother Lane, probably the front runner, I would think, for the Calder Trophy this year, ahead of Macklin Celebrini.
Yep.
And then you've got Cole Hudson, who all he's done thus far is win gold at the World Juniors for Team USA, and he's a second-round pick of the Caps that they're really high on.
Well, he should be. Washington can really draft. They got 2 great second-rounders. Andrew Crystal as well. Spokane had a mammoth season at WHL.
Moore works it around the boards. Moore, Deneau, and Foegele out for LA as Edmonton chops it out of the zone. Corey Perry scored his 18th of the year to go along with an assist last night in the win over Winnipeg. Kings shovel it down deep. Moore does the honors. Picked up and moving swiftly up ice is Brett Kulak. No Troy Stetcher tonight, and Kulak's dump in went off the curved glass to the immediate left of David Riddick, backing up Darcy Kemper tonight. And the faceoff will come out to center, and we should mention, of course, got some cracked glass. That's why we're taking the break here. 4 minutes gone by in the first period. We'll take time out for now. Warren Foegele has put the Los Angeles Kings up 1-0. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey live from Rogers Place, the Oilers Radio Network.
Hey Edmonton, big moves need big talent, and AMJ is your go-to partner. For all local residential and commercial relocations, AMJ delivers a smooth, stress-free experience. AMJ, your team for every move. Contact your local branch today.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house
house parties, the porch hangs, to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Rogers is Canada's fastest and most reliable internet. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Brown's scoring down in the basement. There it is! Watch Leon light the lamp in the living room. Spectacular! Connor scoring in all corners of the house. And Nurse notching a game winner in the nursery. Very quietly, of course. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
Edmonton comes all the way back.
Hey Edmonton, big moves need big talent, and AMJ is your go-to partner. For all local residential and commercial relocations, AMJ delivers a smooth, stress-free experience. AMJ, your team for every move. Contact your local branch today.
All games, all season. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Broken curved glass. Brett Kulak, too much mustard on that one, and they're still attending to that pane of plexi. 4 minutes into this first period, Bob, it allows us to talk about, some similarities between tonight's game and last year's game 79. When Edmonton still had a theoretical shot at the Pacific Division, decided to play the long game. Connor McDavid probably could have played, didn't play. Canucks won a close game, and the Oilers ended up beating Vancouver in game 7 anyway. Are there some parallels that can be drawn tonight? Yes, the Oilers are banged up, but they also have some guys who would probably be going if this was next Sunday or Monday, theoretically, in LA.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing I'd say is obviously multiply it by XXX here in terms of how many more guys are out for Edmonton. It's unreal.
Oh, for sure.
Like it just.
But what I'm saying is they're not trying to grasp home ice per se. No. They're playing the long game.
Rob Brown talked about the fact that before the game, this game, like what can't happen here is LA can't lose to an Edmonton team tonight that doesn't have McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman. I mean, the Oilers are the only team in the league with 3 different guys that have scored 50 goals in the last 3 years, and they're all out at tonight's game. Right? And that doesn't include, they lose Ekholm, all right, we know he's going to be out a while, but Jake Wallman as well in the back end. And then the 2 wild cards are Stetcher and
Kane and Frederick,
because of the physicality that they theoretically could bring. So, if you're LA, you want to take care of business. And the Oilers have had I'm not going to say a sleepy start, but they're down here 1-0 and didn't like how the penalty sort of was created for Los Angeles that really led to the power play goal, end of the power play. 5-on-5 goal for LA.
Well, it's the third time in 5 games the Oilers are playing a man short tonight. 11 forwards and 5 defense. And here's another disconnect as we'll have an icing call whistled against Edmonton.
That's a long 70-foot stretch pass that they can't negotiate contact in, and now you're.
And you probably didn't need to make it. Take a few more strides and reduce it to a 40-foot pass.
Right. So.
Face-off right side of Calvin Pickard, who stopped 26 of 28 last Saturday in Los Angeles. The one thing I'll say, Bob,
he played well in that game.
He played well in that game, and the other thing is the Kings didn't pull away from a depleted Edmonton lineup that day either. Whoa. Here's Anderson, a shot that caromed off the skate of Kuzmenko, drifted just wide. Pickard flashes out the left pad and is able to make the save on the wraparound effort from the 37-year-old Andrei Kopitar. Pickard had to be alert there, and now they're talking about it. Calvin Pickard turning 33 tomorrow. He's won 7 of his last 9, and as Bob and I just talked about, 9 days ago he didn't get any run support, and that was a game where, Bob, quite frankly, you could play it another hour, and I'm not sure the Oilers were scoring.
No, they were boxed out. I think what disappointed me in that game is just I didn't like the competitiveness in the box, in the paint, and if I recall correctly, Edmonton got off to a very slow start again,
Another icing call against Edmonton.
Had nothing going here early. They're going to have to dig in a little bit. I think that's a given. Had 4 or 5 icing calls, taking a penalty.
Nugent Hopkins returning after a 3-game absence due to illness. He'll dig in against Quinton Byfield. Stuart Skinner got the nod last night and won, stopping 17 of 18 as the Oilers held the President's Trophy winners to their fewest shots on net all year. Pickard was able to block her a floater from the blue line out of play at the expense of Drew Doughty, 35 years of age. And
Brown's going off here. I think he got clipped. Might be leaking. Right off the draw and the follow through and the shot from the LA forward.
Yeah, he did go underneath. That could be just a repair scenario, although I think the other thing at play here, Bob, more so than last year, is Edmonton's a bit spooked right now. They've had some guys try to come back and re-aggravate things, and I think they're just, again, trying to play the long game and worry about next week rather than this week so much. Here's Bouchard. Slide step to your right, taken off his stick, and Gavrikov with a clear up towards center. But that also may account for the quiet start we've seen because the players know. Yep. Alex Laferriere sends it in. Boy, what a huge game the Fiala-Laferriere and Byfield line
had. We got a penalty from the LA bench. They grabbed Corey Perry.
Call will be made by Jean Hebert. And it does look like it'll only be LA. Philip Deneau to the box. Let's get the call.
LA bench minor penalty for interference.
There it is. So Deneau with a little tug on Corey Perry's stick. Yeah, and there was some fencing there. And, you know, that's Perry's gamesmanship. And you said it, Bob, last night when we were sitting there having a cup of coffee on a Sunday morning in Winnipeg. 39 years of age, 5 fights, soon to be 18 goals. Who was one of the first guys on the ice?
Yep, loves the game.
Adam Henrique wins the face-off. Bouchard, a blast from Arvidsson, and that pinballed off the plexi and is clubbed down the ice by Andrei Kopitar.
That almost got Perry.
It did. LA, while porous on the power play this year, has been pretty good on the kill.
But they were good on the kill last year too, Jack, and the Oilers got him in round 1.
You mean the last 3 years? Nugent Hopkins drops it off against Victor Arvidsson.
But they dramatically improved their penalty killing last, and that's what I mean. It didn't show up in the playoffs.
My point is Edmonton's got 25 power play goals in the last 18 playoff games between these two clubs. Doesn't matter the year, doesn't matter the numbers. So, and I think that's your greater point too. We'll see what happens when the games really mean something. Bouchard sends it down low. LA able to win a battle down low and clear it. And I mean, let's face it, you're also talking about an Oiler power play that's 2/5 of what it will be next week.
Yep.
No McDavid, no Draisaitl, no Hyman. Draisaitl still tied for the league lead with 16 power play goals, even though he's been out the last couple of weeks. Connor Brown been on a heater lately. 4 goals in his last 3. Shovels it down low as this Oiler power play, brought to you by Atco, Alberta's trusted energy retailer, has 40 seconds remaining. However, Jeff Skinner can't keep it in the zone, and that puck will travel the length of the ice. Nurse to Brown. Dumps it in. Kemper leaves it for Drew Doughty. He thought he was held by Brown, didn't get the call. Brown slides it back to Nurse and across to Brett Kulak. His wrist shot swallowed up by Gavrikov, slashing away at the puck. And the second effort muscles it inside the Edmonton line, down to 10 seconds on the Oiler power play. Edmonton left to right in this first period. Nurse dumps it in. Bouncing puck fielded by Kemper. Laid off the glass, settled by Kapanen. Beautiful look. Here's Skinner shooting, and a save made by Kemper, who dropped it momentarily. And Edmonton's first shot comes 7 minutes and 13 seconds into the hockey game, and it's a tough one. Kemper staring down Skinner.
Well, Skinner, as you know, how many times has he scored 30 goals in his career?
6.
6 times 30 goals scored. Top of the face-off circle, look there from distance. But when you got a goalie that's plus 25, Jack, and goals saved above expectation this year, he's stopping the puck. LA's got the 4th best save percentage in the NHL. I mean, they're 2nd in goals against, they're 2nd in shots against, and they're 4th in save percentage. It's part of the reason why they're as good as they are defensively.
And Kemper personally is 2nd in goals against, 3rd in save percentage, and shutouts. Shut out the Oilers last Saturday, 26 saves. Drive by Anderson, redirected wide. Rebound, fought for, controlled by Fiala. Threw it back behind the net for Laferriere. Tried to twist it back to the point, taken away by Podkolzin, and here come the Oilers. 3-on-3, sent in deep by Max Jones, who's been knocking on the door lately, playing some good hockey. Ty Emberson, wrist shot deflected and then ricocheted wide. LaFerriere almost booted that one into his own net. Brant Clark able to come up with the puck, paired with Mikey Anderson at this moment, and he'll lunge down the middle of the ice. Grabbed by Cam Dineen and whistled in by Podkolzin. Josh Brown in the game for Edmonton tonight. It's his 9th NHL appearance this season. He's played limited minutes the last couple games against Tucson as a member of the Bakersfield Condors, for whom he's dressed 39 times this year and played to a +8.
Well, he missed about a month. His wife had a pregnancy. They've had a difficult family situation to deal with. He and Travis Dermott. Dermott was claimed on February the 26th. Still has not played in Bakersfield yet. He is down there.
Second time through, of course, Dermott broke camp with the Oilers. Played some games early in the season and was picked up by Minnesota. Here's a shot by Jordan Spence, and that squirted through everyone. I think we've got a penalty coming against Edmonton as the man taken out down low, I believe, was Malott.
It was Malott.
Yeah, Malott drew the call.
Stick came up, clipped him. 4-time 20 goals scorer in the American League. Started in Winnipeg's organization.
Winnipeg gave him 1 game in 4 years. Hard to believe. And you look at Malott, and I know you and I had some empathy for Patrick Russell. Well, Jeff Malott had a goal taken off the board last Saturday. Thought he had scored his first NHL goal, but the Kings were offside, and Noah Siegel doesn't miss many.
Yep. Nailed that one.
Kopitar.
This is a big kill for Edmonton. I mean, you don't want LA to run away here.
Kopitar wins the faceoff. Kempe back to Kopitar, side of the net, quick dish, and that was there, but Fiala fumbled it away. Nugent Hopkins and Henrique with a clear length of the ice, and Edmonton will change it up. Nurse and Bouchard remain out there as the Kings dash back to pick it up. Kempe with Brown trailing him, swings it back to Kopitar. Byfield flying through the neutral zone, gives it up. Kuzmenko back to Byfield. Coming off a 3-point game in the win over Colorado, and he's usually tough on Edmonton, but a miscommunication between Kopitar and Fiala. Kemper comes out to play it ahead for Fiala, who takes a return feed from Kopitar. Behind the net, Adrian Kempe up top of the right circle. Fiala shoots, save made, rebound, bounced around. Fiala got it back. Kings on the power play for another minute 5. Here's a redirection home, and it's Byfield right on cue, Bob. He seems to show up particularly in this building, and that was a heck of a high slot deflection. 2-0 LA on Byfield's 23rd of the season.
Well, Drew Doughty's an experienced player. He doesn't slap the puck. I mean, the statistics support, wrist. Think about what's easier to deflect, a wrist shot or a snapper or that big outser from the point. Fiala swings it back, and
Kempe with a beautiful wrist shot that's punched home by Quentin Byfield.
9, not 8.
I meant what you knew.
Yeah.
Byfield from Kempe and Fiala. And the Kings take a 2-0 lead. Oilers just 1 shot in the first 9.5 minutes, and it hasn't helped. They've been shorthanded twice. Here come the Oilers off the center ice draw. Nugent Hopkins around Mikey Anderson, then swung by Kemper and chopped out by Philip Deneau. I think Nugent Hopkins might have drawn a call here. What do we have?
No, I think it's going to be on Connor Brown going after Philip Deneau.
Yeah, Deneau, I thought also chopped Brown. I thought Nugent Hopkins on that inside drive thought he had drawn a stick infraction, but they got Brown for retaliating on Deneau. It's going to be a roughing call against Connor Brown, and the Oilers put themselves shorthanded for a 3rd time inside 10 minutes, and Brown
can't play this way.
Finished him off with a little right elbow to the chin. So it was Perry getting underneath Deneau's skin, and then Deneau was able to draw a bit of a frustration penalty from Connor Brown.
Well, now this is a mammoth kill for the Oilers.
That was a big hit by Deneau. He leveled Brown back up ice, and Brown, enraged, went after him. Adam Henrique comes up with a loose puck off the draw, lifts it down the middle of the ice. 10 minutes gone by, first period. LA leads by a count of 2-0. Quentin Byfield around Arvidsson, gained the line, cuts left, shoots, deflected, rebound, what a save by Calvin Bickford, flashing out the left pad. That was some kind of stop on Kuzmenko, who appeared to have the 3-0 goal on his stick. Fiala steps up left circle, tried to go cross ice, deflected. Byfield denied by Pickard. 2 really good stops by Pickard. Now Byfield point blank. Tried to go back door and unable to guide it home was Kopitar. And out of the fray comes Matthias Janmark a second time and finally chopped off his stick by Kempe. I'm not sure how LA didn't score on that last flurry. Give Pickard a lot of credit. Here's Fiala, little spin move on Podkolzin. Heading for the net, tried to dish. The Kings don't generally pull away from teams. That's another situation for Los Angeles to keep in mind moving forward. They play closer to the margins than Edmonton does. They've got a 2-0 advantage. Kempe failed to handle a pass in the high slot. Here's Podkolzin shorthanded. Absorbs a hip check from Kempe. That was well landed by Adrian Kempe. And Philip Deneau will take over, thundering back into him. Podkolzin, he got a reverse pop for his troubles. And the Oilers are looking like a frustrated hockey club here in the early going. LaFerriere, he was absolutely drilled by Josh Brown on the dump in. And it's getting nasty between two teams who are going to see one another for real in a week's time. LA back together. Deneau up the left-hand side. Warren Fogle to LaFerriere. Hit hard by Darnell Nurse. Here's Drew Doughty as the power play comes to an end. Successful Napa Auto Parts penalty kill. Pickard makes a tough save against Anderson. Fogle unable to finish the rebound, and the Oilers escape unscathed. The Napa Auto Parts penalty kill coming through for the second time in 3 opportunities in this first period. But that's
Fogle,
the problem.
You know, Fogle won't fight.
Fogle continues to jab away, and he took a penalty. And that's Janmark baiting Warren Fogle into a penalty. And both teams are taking some retaliatory penalties that are going to drive their respective head coaches absolutely nuts. Oilers will turn it over as they hit the LA line, but Fogle takes a bad penalty at 12:29 to this first period, and that'll set Edmonton up with its second. Yeah. Fogle continuing to argue it's going to be only Fogle to the box. So an Atco power play when we come back to Rogers Place. Los Angeles 2. Edmonton no score. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey. The Oilers Radio Network.
Believing in yourself takes confidence. At Portage College, 93% of grads say their education gave them the skills and knowledge they needed for their careers. That's the kind of confidence that leads to great results. Learn more at portagecollege.ca.
The Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation 50-50, presented by Rogers, is back and bigger than ever. The largest 50-50 in sports offers early bird draws, bonus raffles, and a main jackpot, which is growing by the second. With over $100 million invested across oil country, your support directly helps kids, families, and communities in need. Maybe you'll be our next winner. Get your tickets right now at EdmontonOilers.com and help make oil country a better place.
AGLC license number 696879.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, Common thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold to the vents, start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a deal from Legacy. Oh yeah, save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Portage College graduates are incredibly employable. How does Portage know? 99% of employers surveyed said they would hire a Portage grad. Get career ready at Portage College. Learn more by visiting portagecollege.ca.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app. This is the Oilers Radio Network.
7.5 to play. First period, Warren Fogle taking a penalty he didn't need to against Matthias Janmark. There was some jostling in front of the Edmonton bench, and as a result, the Oilers back on the power play. 5 combined power plays for these two teams in the first 12.5 minutes. Off the draw, Nugent Hopkins controls. Adam Henrique in the slot, Corey Perry behind the net. Gavrikov will pursue, mishandled by Arvidsson, and the Kings will clear back through center.
Oilers need more out of Victor Arvidsson right now. especially since they don't have McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman.
Arvidsson to Perry. That shot deflected. Here's Deneau chipping it, but not out. Trevor Moore didn't get it done. Perry had it knocked away by Deneau. Gavrikov with an opportunity to clear, and he rams it off the boards and back to center. Carried in by Nugent Hopkins, who's the leading goal scorer in the Edmonton lineup with 20. Kings have 5 20-goal scorers at their disposal tonight. The Oilers won. Adam Henrique. Nugent Hopkins. Henrique tried to center. That was deflected. Henrique has gotten hot with 4 goals and 9 points in his last 11. Here's Bouchard across. Handled by Nugent Hopkins off his back foot. Bouchard. Little spin. Corey Perry keeps it moving. Arvidsson. Back to Perry. Arvidsson deep in the left-hand corner. Atco power play for the Oilers. A shot, and that went off the right shoulder of Kemper. High on the plexi, taken by Perry. He nudged it inside. Henrique directs back to Bouchard. A blast and a save made by Darcy Kemper. The rebound, Bouchard tried to swing it down low. Centering pass intended for Nugent Hopkins. Broken up. And L.A. jabs it down the middle. Kempe on net. Pickard to reset.
Better looking power play for Edmonton, though, Jack.
Much better. Well, for one thing, they're able to get set up. Here's Nurse. Back to Connor Brown. Sidecar is Kulak. Kapanen on the right wing. Skinner on the left wing. Kapanen double teamed in the corner. Has not scored a goal since January 23rd. Tied up with Jordan Spence. Nurse from distance. A save made by Kemper. He almost fooled him. Here's Kulak, a blast, and Kemper this time, square to the shooter, makes the save. I think Nurse thought he saw something, and he was almost right. Kemper had to make a sprawling save. The power play comes to an end, and with 5.5 to go in this first period, we'll take time out. The Oilers have rattled off 4 of the game's last 5 shots on net, but they're 0 for 2 on the power play, and they're trailing 2-0 goals for Fogle and Byfield, both with their 23rd for Los Angeles. We're live from the Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth high atop Rogers Place on the Oilers Radio Network.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
RS Breakers and Controls, Canada's leader in new, used, tested, and obsolete circuit breakers, MCC buckets, bus plugs, and switches. They have everything you need to maintain your aging electrical infrastructure, ensuring it operates as good as new. Their 24/7 emergency response gets you back up and running quickly, saving valuable time and money. Minimal generators or modifications needed, and like-for-like replacements mean no special inspections. Don't replace, repair your legacy equipment with RS. Visit rsbreakers.com.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
All games, all seasons.
You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
2-0 hockey game in favor of Los Angeles. A face-off coming to the right of Darcy Kemper, making his 7th consecutive start for the Kings. 12-4-4 lifetime with a save percentage of 92 against the Oilers. A shot tipped. He and Pavel Francouz guided Colorado to a 4-game sweep of the Oilers back in the 2022 conference final. Here's Warren Fogle. Double teamed. Didn't work out for Kemper in Washington, but a trade that benefited both teams. Kemper coming to L.A. and Pierre-Luc Dubois to Washington. And L.A. benefited twice from that situation because they were able to unload the Dubois contract after a deal that cost them Gabe Vilardi to Winnipeg. Yeah, big hit in the corner. Josh Brown, as you were saying earlier, Bob, with a big hit that for a while seemed to turn the game's momentum in Edmonton's favor. But the Kings with a 2-0 lead. Byfield shoots it in. Here's Jeff Skinner in front of the Oiler bench, staggers his way to center, and then inadvertently fires it into about the 9th row near side. Bob and I up on the 8th floor with our it's been a while. Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. Coventry's the starting lineup. Bob, just shake me a little bit. Once you hear the head rattle, you can figure it out.
I had number 8 wearing number 9, so that tells you a little right there. Now, we are a ways up.
Righty-lefty.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
Aren't you glad I'm back?
No.
4.5 minutes to go, first period. Rogers Place, Edmonton 25-12-3 at home this year.
The Oilers have the tougher lineup. I mean, don't be afraid to embrace the opportunity to get some shots in on these guys. You know you're going to be playing them.
Shoveled in by Kempe. Whistled up the left-hand side, backing off against Skinner is Jordan Spence, and he'll fire it in deep. Kemper plays it up the left wing boards. Philip Deneau, and now Kuzmenko did not get it out. Bouchard's shot was blocked. Skinner an interception. That creates for Nugent Hopkins, and now Skinner back on the puck. Jeff Skinner spun down, and that's another penalty. And they're calling, are they going to call 2 here or just the hook?
Just the hook.
And it's going to be Gavrikov to the box, and now each team with 3 first period power plays. And it starts with Skinner making the steal. Kings had an opportunity to get it out, and the Oilers just would not let LA get an exit.
Think of where Skinner was at plus-minus, Jack, in around December, and where he's at right now. I mean,
Well, Skinner, Henrique, and Arvidsson, I think, have benefited from playing the kind of minutes that they typically did on other teams before joining Edmonton.
Henrique's done a good job in the circle to start a couple power plays here. If I'm Edmonton, I'm getting it to the net quicker. Try to create some chaos. You can't pass it in.
Henrique won the faceoff. Nugent Hopkins passed on a shot from the slot, kicked it back to Bouchard. Here's Perry, deep left corner. Thought a shot might be available there. Arvidsson to Bouchard. In other words, I agree with you. Here's a shot redirected, and that was a top save made by Kemper. Henrique in the high slot lurking. Arvidsson had it forced out. A good play by a lunging Drew Doughty. Arvidsson, of course, a part of this rivalry last couple seasons with Los Angeles. Though he missed one series, rifled in by Trevor Moore, and that's going to be knocked down by Calvin Pickard. The Atco power play at 1:20 with Gavrikov in the box for the hook on Jeff Skinner. Nugent Hopkins gliding his way in. He'll put it behind the LA defense, pull his way past more Ferrari, and then it appeared Arvidsson had an open net as he was driving down the right-hand side, but couldn't finish, and LA gets a length of the ice clear from Mikey Anderson.
You're never going to get a more fortuitous bounce than that. He's got to put that puck in the net there.
Stays out, and Darnell Nurse on the ice for Edmonton. Connor Brown, the trailer. Nurse fooled LA, and he's in on a breakaway, only to be denied by Darcy Kemper. What a change of pace by Darnell Nurse. And Drew Doughty fires it down the ice. He caught LA napping and blew right past Drew Doughty. Kemper comes up with the save, and that's what he's given LA all year long. Rob Brown talked about it. The difference from the prior 3 years, Kings have a legitimate number 1. And when I say that, I mean a top 3 goaltender in the league, at least this year. The statistics would back it up, nudged by Anderson back through the middle. Only Connor Hellebuck has surpassed Darcy Kemper in the major categories. Working his way in is Skinner. A pass to Kapanen. I thought Skinner might have drawn another hooking call there. Kulak and Kapanen trade. Here's Skinner, and he just wired it wide from the top of the right circle. Rebound Nurse in front. Kapanen knocked away from him. The Oilers fail to convert the power play, and the Kings get it out. Byfield stung by a hard body check from Kasperi Kapanen, as you may have heard Bob exclaim. 100 seconds to play in this first period. LA 2-0, but very much Edmonton has at least established a foothold. Yeah.
What was the turning point? It was the Josh Brown hit, got everybody engaged and involved.
Brown will get it back from Matthias Janmark and rifle it in from center. Jordan Spence slashing at the puck, batted out a meter by Deneau, and here come the Kings. Warren Fogle picking up speed to the neutral zone, hitting the trailer. Gavrikov scores. 3-0 Los Angeles. Gavrikov with his 5th.
Nice shot. Finish that one, Jack.
Fogle with the assist. And this crowd has been quieted. So Kemper, the big save at one end when Nurse catches LA sleeping a bit. And then at the other, Fogle to Moore hits the trailer, and Gavrikov makes no mistake. Time of the goal, 18:45. Moore scored an overtime goal a couple years ago against Edmonton in the playoffs. It was disputed, but the Kings took a 2-1 series lead, then took a 3-0 lead in Game 4. Jack Campbell bailed the Oilers out, and Edmonton won the series in 6. Here's Fiala knocking down a lead pass off the draw, then thrown back in front, and Pickard able to pull that in. Moore and Fogle with the assists, and once again it gets a little rough behind the Edmonton net. I think the other thing is LA started to join Edmonton in the penalty box, and now Perry had his helmet popped off here. Let's see what the call is. That can be an automatic penalty.
I think this one's going to coincidental minors, Jack.
You think coincidental?
Yep.
One guy's going for sure. I don't know about coincidental. And this is another undisciplined penalty
for roughing
against LA. Yeah, Byfield popped the helmet off. And Bob, as you know, that's an automatic. You pop that helmet off, and Byfield did against Corey Perry. No question about it. A headlock, ripped the helmet off. And he had a chance to let Perry go and did not. And I got to say this. LA is keeping Edmonton in the game with some silly, undisciplined penalties.
Well, the Oilers have got to score on their opportunities. They've had
fair point.
They've had 3 or 4 pretty good looks in this game and haven't been able to score. And the Kings have been opportunistic and finished.
Last power play, some good looks.
Yeah, but
first unit and then Nurse on the rush.
A pass off right off a face-off win where Nugent Hopkins had a chance in the high slot.
Look at where Jeff Skinner is now. He's in the high slot. Nugent Hopkins taking the draw. So they're switching it up here with Adam Henrique sitting this one out. Only problem is Nugent Hopkins gets chased out, and now it'll be Skinner taking the draw against Andrei Kopitar. 56 seconds to go in the period. Off the face-off, Arvidsson might have gotten away with a hold. Here's Nugent Hopkins trying to burrow his way in, gives it up for Corey Perry. 7 power plays in the first 20. Good play by Bouchard to knock it down, but it did hop outside the zone, so the Oilers must reload. Atco power play. The Oilers 0 for 3 tonight, all in the first period. Arvidsson fell down, lost the handle, and that'll be clubbed down the ice by Gavrikov, who moments ago scored a 5-on-5 goal to give the Kings a 3-0 lead. Fogle with a goal and an assist in this first period. Nugent Hopkins fires it in from center. That's not touched. Unforced error, 16 seconds to go. And Bob, again, I go back to the fact that you've got 40% of your number one power play unit. At times it's been disjointed.
You made some bets on some guys too, Jack, on July the 1st. And we could talk about Skinner's game picking up. And Arvidsson's got, 5 goals after the last...
7 in the last 14 games.
Right, so he's going to... And that's... Holy cow.
Penalty against Edmonton.
And
looked like
right
a potential breakout, and Arvidsson instead will go to the box. And now we've had 8
and no fights.
Penalties and no fights. Yeah, all minors. But again, it's getting a little nasty. We've seen some undisciplined penalties from both teams, and Arvidsson, got the stick in on the hands of Trevor Moore.
Bottom line, Jack, is they needed more out of Arvidsson all year long to find his game. Now he's got 7, he said, in his last 14. Hopefully that translates into some playoff success. And same with Skinner, but I'm going to be intrigued. What if I told you? I don't know if we're going to see. Oh, look out.
Oh, here off the draw, Trevor Moore rifled one wide. 4-on-4. LA has been outscored 6-2 this year. Edmonton has been on the plus side of it, 5-0. But now taking a skate and pulling it all the way back into his own zone is Brent Clark. So end of 20 minutes, and it's LA 3, Edmonton no score. And Bob, you used the proper word for what we saw in the opening 20 minutes. Edmonton pushed its way back into the game, helped by some silly LA penalties. But while the Kings have been opportunistic, Darcy Kemper has bailed LA out when they've been porous defensively.
Jack, all year long, the Oilers have looked for some secondary scoring, and it hasn't really been there. It's started to pick up a little bit more from Arvidsson and from Jeff Skinner. So here's the deal. What if I told you maybe you can only play 2 of the following 3 players? Arvidsson, Jeff Skinner, and Corey Perry.
Well, you're going to have a hard time convincing me that Corey Perry should ever come out of the lineup.
I agree. I think Corey Perry has to play.
In fact, the only game Perry has missed this year was a game on the second of a back-to-back, and you and I both know he was less than pleased about that, and that actually left an indelible mark on the coaching staff. Like, this guy wants to play. Yeah. He doesn't want to ever come out of the lineup.
Well, and twice he's got the Oilers' power plays here in this period.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's
an agitator,
right?
Especially against Los Angeles. He's been pissing them off for 20 years.
Well, the Oilers just was a real sleepy period here. There's no other way to say it. Like, there are guys that are... And again, I know they don't have McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman, but they still have some other good players, and they have a standard, and you got to capitalize on opportunities. You can't miss open net tap-ins on the short side like Arvidsson missed. Nurse made a great rush, but got to be better. And the Kings, it's been I don't mind the physicality, and I'd keep the physicality up if I was Edmonton. I'd land body shot after body shot after body shot, but they got some work to do here coming up in the second and third period.
LA, a motivated hockey club trying to put home ice to rest. They feel very confident inside the confines of Crypto.com Arena, understandably so. A franchise record and a league best this year, 31-5-4 slate at home. Again, we talked about the road record is bottom third of the league, but the Kings have a chance for home ice advantage for the first time in the 4 consecutive meetings between these two clubs. It'll be the 11th career postseason meeting between Edmonton and Los Angeles. The Oilers have won 8 of the first 10, including the last 3. The only Kings victories, 82 and 89. Edmonton and LA, it's not even the first time they've played 4 years in a row in the playoffs. They played 4 years in a row from 89 through 92. That's next week. This is this week, and right now the Kings, in the Oilers' final home game of the season, have a 3-0 lead in Edmonton's Rogers Place. The goals, Warren Foegele, Quentin Byfield, and Vladislav Gavrikov. We'll come right back. Bryn Griffiths and Rob Brown live from high atop Rogers Place in our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth. 20 minutes complete. LA 3, Edmonton no score. This is 4 Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Hey, Edmonton. Ever think about who gets your hard-earned money when you buy groceries or gas? For all you know, it could be buying a second yacht or private jet. But at Co-op, they put it right back into the community. That's because they're owned by 120,000 everyday Edmontonians, not a corporation. Feel good about where your money goes when you shop Co-op. Visit in-store for details.
It's our YEG with 880 Chad.
880 Chad is proud to support the 2025 Edmonton G-Man Built MS Walk, May 25th at Rundle Park. Become a part of something bigger. Register or donate today by visiting mswalks.ca. Then, we're far from Folsom, but ready to step into the ring of fire as Midway Music Hall welcomes The Man in Black, a tribute to Johnny Cash, August 14th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.
For details on these and more events, visit 880chad.com. At the intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
For Edmonton, Connor Brown, the trailer. Nurse fooled LA, and he's in on a breakaway, only to be denied by Darcy Kemper. What a change of pace by Darnell Nurse. And Drew Doughty fires it down the ice. He caught LA napping and blew right past Drew Doughty.
And that's our Highlight Zone, brought to you by Century Casinos. All in, all games, all season. Century Casinos with 3 great locations in Edmonton, St. Albert, and right next door to the Edmonton International Airport. Welcome to the Winter Zone. Welcome to the first intermission. After 20 minutes of play, it is Los Angeles 3, the Edmonton Oilers nothing. Shots on goal in that period favoring the LA Kings 12-9. Bryn Griffiths along with Rob Brown back here at Rogers Place. I'm not really sure how to dig in on this period, quite frankly. But the LA Kings came out and played.
Well, I mean, the LA Kings have a better team dressed.
Absolutely.
This is their full roster outside of one defenseman, Edmondson, who is a good defenseman and will make a difference come playoff time.
Yeah.
The Oilers have a number of players out, and it looked like that in the first period. There was a little bit of nastiness, as these teams know they're going to be playing each other at the end of the week, and in the first round of the playoffs. Things that we know about the LA Kings, they got fantastic goaltending. I'm just looking at Darcy Kemper's numbers. He doesn't have as many games played as Hallenbuck in Winnipeg, who is going to win the Vezina, and good chance he could win the Hart Trophy as well. But Kemper's numbers are very similar in lesser games. He's got a 2.05 goals against average. He's got a .921 save percentage. Those are fantastic numbers. And a big reason the LA Kings are where they are in the standings in that period right there. The LA Kings didn't give up a whole lot, but the two big chances that the Oilers got, the Nurse breakaway that we just heard, he made it look easy. The Arvidsson backdoor, which looked like an easy tap into a wide open net.
There, yeah.
He made a save there. So Darcy Kemper is the biggest difference for me between this LA King team that we're going to see this year in the playoffs and over the last 3 years before this. They've got a fantastic goaltender in net. Other things that we saw in that period, the LA Kings will not beat the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs if they average 4 penalties a period.
Right.
I mean, they've shut the Oilers down so far with their penalty kill, but again, it's missing 3/3 of the power play and the two best with Connor and Leon out of the lineup. So if the LA Kings play a loose game like that with taking penalties, they will not beat the Oilers. One thing I also noticed in that period is I believe the referees understood that these two teams were going to be playing 5 days from now.
Yes.
And they were said, okay, do not let this game get out of hand. Was it 6 power plays in the first period? And some of them, I mean, there were
a couple of ones.
Weirdly weak calls. The Fogle call in front of the bench, that's not a penalty. So there were some penalties that you don't normally see, and I think this is a reffing crew. And completely understandable. You know what? This game is not the important one. The important one will be Saturday or Sunday whenever these two teams play against each other. Let's not get this game out of hand. So we saw a lot of power plays in the first 20 minutes as it kept both teams from being able to roll 4 lines.
I was just going to say that. I almost felt like this game in that first period was being refereed for next week.
They're just sending a message. Yeah, just sending a message. Well, another thing that we saw in the first period, and I did it. I was on a national thing today, and I've talked about it here. Is I don't believe the LA Kings can beat the Oilers if the LA Kings cannot score in the power play. And the LA Kings do not have a good power play unit. It's at 17% on the season. And what we saw in the first period, the LA Kings have 5 forwards on the power play, which is it's been done. Teams have done it, but not a lot. The Edmonton Oilers are a very good team at attacking when killing. We saw them attack in this period. I thought Adrian Kempe was a fantastic one-on-one play with Podkolzin, actually threw a big hip check. But that is something the Oilers will be able to take advantage of at some point in a series. If they're going against 5 forwards, you will get opportunities to try a forward going one-on-one. And if I'm Coach Knobloch, there will be a time once or twice, maybe a game, once or twice in the series, well, I'm throwing Connor McDavid on the ice to penalty kill. Because if he's out there going against 5 forwards, most defensemen in the NHL can't stop him. Certainly not a forward going backwards will be able to. So to me, at some point, if they're putting 5 forwards out there, I'm going to throw McDavid out there on a penalty kill every so often. And maybe, especially if the Oilers are down, because there's an opportunity to create some offense right there.
We talked about this maybe about 2 weeks ago, about the fact that when the Oilers are missing 3/5 of their power play and they can't get it in to set it up in the other team's zone, we're seeing that through the first 20 minutes. It just seemed it was a tough task just to get it down the ice. Right?
It was both. Actually, it was both. Getting the puck in, and when they got the puck in, they struggled as well.
Yeah.
Now, again, the breakout, there was 2 or 3 times where there was missed passes. A lot of these guys don't play together. We saw 2 icings. We saw a puck pass back to nobody. It's just that the Oilers' first power play unit has been together for a number of years. They could make the plays in their sleep because they've done it over and over and over again. They're not just throwing one new guy out there. There's 3 new guys out on the ice right now, playing in different positions. So they struggled to get the puck in the offensive zone. When they were in the offensive zone, it looked like a group of guys that were thrown together this morning and said, okay, you guys are on the power play tonight, good luck. They struggled having any cohesiveness out there, and that's completely understandable. One thing we did see with the LA Kings penalty kill, which has absolutely been torched the last 3 years in the playoffs, the Oilers power play has beat the LA Kings by itself. Like their power play has just decimated the LA Kings penalty killing the last 3 years. The LA Kings last year, and I was very critical with them on air, their penalty killing was incredibly passive,
right?
Which you cannot be passive against the Oilers power play. Connor and Leon will pick you apart, and they're much more aggressive tonight. Now they don't have to go against Connor, they don't have to go against Leon, but maybe they're just showing what they're going to be doing in the series. That is I don't know if it can completely stop the Oilers power play, but it certainly is the only chance you have against the Oilers power play. So those are things we saw in the first 20 minutes.
Okay, Rob, thanks. We'll talk to you coming up in the second intermission after one period of play. The LA Kings lead the Edmonton Oilers 3-0. At the intermission is brought to you by End of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
At Fountain Tire, our focus is taking care of your vehicle. Your focus? Saving up to 25% off select tires. Plus, getting up to a $120 mail-in rebate on a set of 4 select tires until April 26th. So we both win. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Rogers is Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Leon scoring in Leduc. Watch Tide tie things up in Tofield. Unbelievable! Or check out Connor doing Connor things in Kalmar. And even watch Stewart steal the show while you're in Sedalia. Try saying that 3 times fast. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
At Fountain Tire, our focus is taking care of your vehicle. Your focus? Saving up to 25% off select tires. Plus, getting up to a $120 mail-in rebate on a set of 4 select tires until April 26th. So we both win. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together.
This is Global News at the first intermission. I'm Zach Ferguson. Police are investigating a suspicious death after a body was found yesterday afternoon in the parking lot of the Holyrood Community Center near 94th Avenue and Holyrood Road. Homicide detectives have taken over the case. The city is looking to increase its awareness about its coyote management strategies and is calling on Edmontonians to play their role in the play. The city is using high-intensity hazing to get the coyotes to move on and make them uncomfortable in residential neighborhoods. Premier Danielle Smith is defending her government's recent move to have government employees contact hired lawyers to arrange interviews with the Auditor General as part of his investigation into multi-million-dollar health contracts. Smith says the move isn't about obstructing the Auditor General, but is about helping getting to the truth. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre promises a government led by him would use the notwithstanding clause to override charter rights to implement his tough-on-crime agenda, something no prime minister has ever done. Liberal leader Mark Carney is pledging to overhaul defense procurement with modernized rules and a new agency. I'm Zach Ferguson. Your next scheduled newscast will be at the second intermission on 880 CHED.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
Hey, Paul Brandt here. Big skies, rugged landscapes. Now that's Alberta in a nutshell. And if you're looking for an SUV that can keep up with this place, check out the Ford Bronco. Built for those who crave adventure, with serious off-road capability and style to spare. Whether you're hitting the mountain trails or exploring the back roads, it's the perfect ride for those who want to experience everything this province has to offer. The Ford Bronco. Adventure awaits at your Alberta Ford dealer. And tell them PB sent you.
Experience the exciting casino action at 3 Century Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile. Dine at one of their amazing restaurants featuring daily specials. Take in the ultimate game day experience at the Century Sports Bar and Lounge. Check out the best in live entertainment at any amazing location. Plus, enjoy a great selection of casino gaming options and off-track betting. Feel the thrill of live horse racing at Century Mile Racetrack. Don't miss a second of the action at Century Casino. Come for the action. Stay for the fun.
Score big with the unmatched purity of Clearwater Vodka, the perfect companion for Oilers fans. Crafted with the pristine waters of Alberta, it's a sip of local excellence. Clearwater Vodka, where the spirit of the game meets true Alberta quality. Must be 18 plus. Please drink responsibly.
At the intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. Final scores earlier tonight: Detroit 6-4 over the Dallas Stars. Lucas Raymond with 1 goal and 2 assists in that one. Cam Talbot picking up the win. Montreal took it to a shootout, pick up 1 point. That's not enough to qualify for the postseason yet. Chicago winning it 4-3. Florida Panthers on home ice losing to the New York Rangers tonight 5-3. JT Miller with 1 goal and 1 assist. And Utah all over Nashville 7-3. Clayton Keller with 2 goals and 2 helpers. Logan Cooley with 1 goal and 2 assists. And out in Vancouver, they're in the second period and the Canucks trailing the San Jose Sharks 1-0. That's your out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. Second period coming up next at the intermission is brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
At the intermission has been brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Real Canadian Superstore has more ways to save than any other major grocer. Check out their weekly flyer for PC Optimum offers, deals on club size, no name, and always low-priced everyday items. Visit in-store to find everything from fashion and home decor to toys and electronics. And don't forget their new Fresh Promise on produce. If your produce isn't fresh, they'll replace it and refund it. There are so many ways to save at Real Canadian Superstore. See their flyer for details.
Play Alberta has hundreds of casino games right at your fingertips. Join thousands discovering why Fortune Coin is one of Alberta's most popular games. Fill your reels with golden coins. Multiply your prizes up to 6 times and turn good spins into legendary ones. Land the Fortune Coin symbol to win cash. Trigger the jackpot. Launch the free spins bonus and watch as the dragon takes over your screen. New players get 100 free spins only on playalberta.ca. Claim your offer today. If you gamble, use your game sense.
Over the last decade, the world of work has changed dramatically. It's a change that can cause a disconnect between a company and its employees. But a partnership with Aon can help by making decisions that create a more flexible, engaged, and resilient workforce. Aon's experience and expertise, global understanding, and advanced analytics ensure that every client is better informed and better advised so that they can make better decisions. Whatever the next decade brings, Aon is in the business of better decisions.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app. This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Well, Darcy Kemper has been on point this year against pretty much everyone in the National Hockey League, and the Edmonton Oilers are no exception. He has stopped 89 of 93 shots against the Oilers. He shut them out 9 days ago. And even in the game the Oilers won in this building, well, it's not like he turned in a poor performance. He stopped 29 of 30, and Edmonton squeaked out a 1-0 decision. So Darcy Kemper and the LA Kings enjoy a 3-0 lead as we bring you back for a 4-on-4 to start this second period. Wrist shot, save made by Philip Deneau, streaking in left to right against Oiler netminder Calvin Pickard. Battling forward and controlling as Trevor Moore behind the Edmonton net, turned away, and the Oilers' Jeff Skinner able to come up with it. Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard, and Nurse joining him at the onset of this second period. Nurse centers, and Kemper a good read, brushing that to the right half boards. Jeff Skinner thought about a wrist shot from a sharp angle, gave it back to Bouchard, and his blast was partially healed and wide of the mark. Drew Doughty able to come up with it, and the Kings will get an abbreviated power play of about 43 seconds momentarily. Adrian Kempe walks in, gives way to the LA longtime captain Andrei Kopitar. Guided back by Fiala to Andrei Kuzmenko, just stepped out of the box. Kings now a 5-on-4 power play, their 4th of the game. 8 penalties taken in the first period. A blast by Fiala, stopped by Calvin Pickard on a setup in the right circle. Clear by the Oilers down the left-hand side, and Kemper will leave it for Kempe.
Well, they've called everything tonight, and they got 2 veteran officials working this game.
Wes McCauley and John Hebert.
And that's because they know these 2 teams are playing in the playoffs.
Here's Kuzmenko dropping it off. Byfield fanned on a centering pass and taking advantage with the length of the ice clear is Matthias Janmark. And the Kings are 1 for 4 on the power play tonight as this one expires. A successful Napa Auto Parts penalty kill for Edmonton. A dump in, Ty Emberson. First period goals by Fogle, Byfield, and Gavrikov. As LA out to a 3-0 lead. Kapanen works his way over the line. 5 consecutive scoreless periods turned in by Kemper. Here's a lead pass. Fogle, a wrist shot off the rush, and a save made by Calvin Pickard, and he'll freeze it. 2 1/4 gone by second period. I talked to Fogle this morning, Bob, and he said, look, guys love playing for Calvin Pickard. It would not surprise me at all if he gets some time at some point in the playoffs. He's had a heck of a year. The opposition and the opposing teams have taken notice of Calvin Pickard's year, 22-9-1. Then again, as you know, Bob, 2 years ago, Jack Campbell went 21-9-1.
And Stuart Skinner had an all-world year for Rookie of the Year.
A finalist, Calder finalist that year. Skinner himself, 25 victories this year as the Oilers for the second time in 3 years have 2 goaltenders with at least 20 wins. Corey Perry will take it back through center. Off an Oiler dump in. Nurse to Bouchard. He'll whistle in deep. This series, rumors have it, beginning, if it does in Los Angeles, either Sunday or Monday. Shot in by Adam Henrique. And Bob, I know you expect Stuart Skinner to be the starter for game 1.
I do.
Lead pass, Brent Clark. Punch forward and clubbed in by Jeff Malott. Lead pass to Max Jones, set up by Kulak. Kemper will leave it for Drew Doughty. We know for certain that Darcy Kemper is going to get the game 1 nod for Los Angeles. Trevor Moore guilty of an icing call. 3 1/4 relatively uneventful minutes have passed here in the second period, and the Kings lead at 3-0.
Strength down the spine, right? That's part of the issue. And you look at LA, and Pierre-Luc Dubois was the second-line center for the Kings, and he had a rough series against Edmonton. Well, now they've moved Byfield full-time to center. Kopitar, Byfield, and Deneau in the 3-hole. Then obviously Kemper and goal are a different team as a result.
Blasted wide by Kulak. LA hopeful to get Tanner Jeannot back for the playoffs. That would help solidify that 4th line, which tonight has Sammy Helenius centering it, and another big hit by Josh Brown as he absolutely pulverized.
No one's going to do a thing with him tonight.
No, pulverized. Is it Turcotte into the Edmonton bench? He nailed somebody. Yeah, it was Turcotte. Absolutely belted him.
He didn't get all of them, though.
Well, 6'4" of Josh Brown against the diminutive Turcotte is plenty.
Well, as you know, Turcotte's had some
injuries.
Yeah, injuries along the way.
He's done a nice job of forging his way onto this team. It takes longer with some young players. A lot of buzz surrounding Alex Turcotte when he was selected 5th out overall in 2019.
He's not the only one that went in the top 5 of the 2019 draft that's had some injury issues. Yep. Kirby Dach, as you know, from Montreal as well.
Shoveled toward the net. Kemper punched toward the corner. Here's an opening for Quinn Hudson. A little miscommunication with Emberson, who wanted to slide to the high slot. The pass eluded him. And Emberson will have to chase it down on his own end. And he almost crisscrossed right back into Kevin Fiala. Eventually turned it over. LaFerriere a steal at center. Fiala to Byfield, left circle, heading for the net. Didn't get a shot away. A lot of chemistry between the threesome that's on the ice for the LA Kings. They're coming off a big game in a win over Colorado, and Byfield already on the scoreboard tonight. Here's Fiala looking for LaFerriere. Wrist shot and kicked away by Pickard.
It's a good stop from Pickard.
Yeah, that line's been buzzing last couple of games as the Kings starting to find their game down the stretch. Of course, especially on home ice, they've just been deadly. 2 losses in their last 20. Here's Kopitar. Through the neutral zone, Jordan Spence looking up ice. Kopitar and Kempe properly covered, so Spence turns it over. Kopitar knocked down a lead pass, but the Oilers will bring it in. Quinn Hudson stood up by Spence at the blue line, and then it was booted back out for Kuzmenko. Trying to fight off Podkolzin, got roughed up and dropped in front of the LA bench. Good hard play by Podkolzin. Bouchard to Nurse at center. Here come the Oilers right to left. Nurse a shot, gloved by Kemper, no rebound. 14:42 to go in the second period. And Darcy Kemper, boy, he just looks locked in the entire year. Makes it look easy. Not too many juicy rebounds. LA a 3-0 lead and a face-off coming to Kemper's right. Again, he just had a streak, snapped 15 in a row with 2 goals or less. The only goaltender since the expansion era that could lay claim to 15 games in a row, 2 goals or less. You want to take a stab at it? An Alberta goaltender. Off the draw, squirted free, and Kemper scooped it up. So
Mike Vernon.
You're right team, wrong goaltender.
An Alberta goaltender, so not a Canadian-born player, but a guy that played for the Flames.
Guy who played for the Flames.
Mika Kiprasov.
There you go. 2004, 16 in a row. That's the only goalie in the last
You know how far that team went
years.
that year? They made it to the Stanley Cup final.
Right. Some would say should have won it. Phantom goal in Game 6. Here's Adam Henrique up the right-hand side. Corey Perry heading for the net. But just to illustrate how effective Kemper has been, and I know Hellebuck deserves the Vezina, and he'll win it. It'll be his third, but Darcy Kemper is right there. Here's Deneau. Chipping it in over the line. Long shot tipped in front of Calvin Pickard, grabbed by Evan Bouchard, and the Oilers will reload in their own end. Perry across to Darnell Nurse. Lead pass, Jeff Skinner grabs it, double teamed immediately. Connor Brown able to hold the zone. Well done for Nugent Hopkins to the middle of the ice. Skinner flicked it back. Open Josh Brown, and a save made by Darcy Kemper on Josh Brown, who has not scored a goal all year, either in the NHL or the AHL. And Kemper able to lock it down with 6 minutes and 21 seconds having elapsed here in the second period. Los Angeles on the strength of 3 first period goals. A 3-0 lead at Rogers Place in downtown Edmonton. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
The Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation 50-50, presented by Rogers, is back and bigger than ever. The largest 50-50 in sports offers early bird draws, bonus raffles, and a main jackpot, which is growing by the second. With over $100 million invested across oil country, your support directly helps kids, families, and communities in need. Maybe you'll be our next winner. Get your tickets right now at EdmontonOilers.com and help make oil country a better place.
AGLC license number 696879.
Freedom Ford is kicking off the new year with incredible savings. Save up to $16,000 on remaining 2024 models with 0% financing and huge discounts. It's the perfect time to upgrade to a brand new vehicle. Freedom Ford is making room for 2025 models, so these deals won't last long. Visit Freedom Ford today and start the new year in style. Don't miss out. Drive into 2025 with unbeatable savings before it's too late.
Do you have tickets to an upcoming event at Rogers Place that you can't attend? Donate your tickets to the Edmonton Oilers Community Foundation Seats for Kids program, presented by Eagle Builders. Seats for Kids provides unused game tickets for charities, allowing children and families to enjoy hockey at Rogers Place. And for many, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. To be a part of the Seats for Kids program presented by Eagle Builders, please email edmonton@kidsupfront.com. That's edmonton@kidsupfront.com.
All games, all season. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
3-0 hockey game, Rogers Place in Edmonton. Oilers will board a plane tomorrow and play San Jose in the regular season finale, game 82. That game, if this score doesn't change, will mean absolutely nothing for Edmonton, with the exception of Connor McDavid, who will be playing to get his 100th point for a 5th consecutive year. And my suspicion is
he'll play.
If that's the scenario, I know he'll play, but if that's the scenario, Bob, I think it's very possible that they'd shut him down once he gets that 100th point. the way the end of this season has gone in terms of the injury bug. Doughty rifles one on net from center ice. Kick to the corner by Pickard. The outlet on to Connor Brown, and now Jeff Skinner wheeling his way in. A drop pass picked off by Kopitar down the middle. Kempe's got a breakaway. Left to right. Denied by Pickard. Emberson got back to take away Kempe's path if he wanted to drag across, but Calvin Pickard has made a couple of key saves here to prevent this game from getting completely out of hand.
Well, Skinner fueled their transition there with a bad drop pass.
Shot wide of the net, caromed off the corner boards. Fiala will knife it down low. That's going to be picked off by Emberson. Shoveled up and held in by Jordan Spence. Oilers with a puck in the corner, and we have a penalty away from the play. Max Jones might have taken a penalty here.
Yeah, he's going to get a roughing call. They're calling everything, Jack.
But you don't mind that from Max Jones. He's trying to make one last impactful statement that, hey, I will be noticed if you play me. But here he takes a roughing call at 7:34. I could hardly blame him, Bob. With the Oilers getting some players back, of course, Max Jones is going to be a guy.
It's not a penalty in the playoffs, I can tell you that. These guys this is game management 101 that's gone on here. And the problem is the Oilers haven't capitalized on their opportunities, and Kemper's been locked in. You know, you take a look at bang play down low. Arvidsson with a short side open net doesn't score. Nurse with a great move to walk in and fighting it off with Kemper.
And the Kings have gotten a power play goal and one that came right after a power play.
Yeah.
Off the draw, Kopitar. 1 for 4 tonight. The Kings officially on the man advantage. Keeping cross ice. One-timer score. Kevin Fiala. His 35th extends the lead to 4-0. Pickard, no chance. Top right corner. Fiala the finish. And LA threatening to turn this game into a rout.
Well, 2 for 5 on the power play. Got to stay out of the box.
Time 7:43, and the Kings waste little time in converting their second power play goal of the hockey game. Bob, they came in just 12% on the road, and Pickard actually got a piece of that Fiala blazer, but it glanced off the heel of his glove and found its way into the back of the net. So 4-0 Los Angeles. And it looks like the Kings are well on their way to securing officially home ice advantage in the first round of this playoff series upcoming with Edmonton. Kings needed one win in their final 3 games, hoping to get it done tonight and potentially rest some guys in their final 2 games against Seattle and Calgary. And you know who else is pleased about this score are the Calgary Flames, because if they have a shot in Game 82, they're going to be playing a watered-down LA lineup. Over R8, off to Brent Clark, off the draw. His shot does not make its way through. Kept in by Los Angeles' Trevor Moore. Podkolzin fumbled it away. Here's Bouchard locating Podkolzin. One-timer ripped on net by Janmark. Got good wood on it. And a save made by goaltender Darcy Kemper. Arvidsson to Bouchard. Good look again. And Janmark's shot trickles wide. And now we'll have a penalty for a trip. And Darcy Kemper pleading his case. And now Podkolzin going after Brent Clark. Tie up in the corner. This one's starting to boil over.
And this has been brewing all game. But actually, this started last game between these two teams.
And there's still an opportunity for a fight or two to manifest itself here. But Colson is looking to go with somebody.
Well, Janmark's ready to go here.
I think Janmark wants a piece of Fogle. Remember earlier, Janmark baited Fogle into a penalty. And Janmark we've seen, can fight.
He can fight.
He can open up the lawnmower if he needs to. Kempe and Kopitar, by the way, with the assists on Fiala's 35th goal of the year. Power play goal. Kempe with 2 points tonight. That's the first for Kopitar. Right now, Kempe 70 points, Kopitar 66, trying to lead the team for an unprecedented 16th time in points. So Podkolzin will go to the box. The initial penalty was against LA. I think it was a trip against Darcy Kemper.
Yeah, Clark has been going at it all game with Podkolzin.
Let's see whether they even it up here. They get Kemper initially on the trip. And then with the rough stuff, I don't know whether they gave Podkolzin an extra 2. And we're going to be waiting a while, I believe. 4-0 the score. 11:18 to play in the second period. Again, if the Kings win, they'll have home ice for the opener of the best-of-7 series this weekend.
Vogel ripped off Arvidsson's helmet and then punched Arvidsson twice. That's when Janmark stayed in.
So they're sorting this one out, talking with Andrzej Kopitar.
Podkolzin's left the ice here, did he? What's going on here?
We're waiting for Jean Hebert, potentially with a call. He's going to explain it to both coaches. Wes McCauley continues to address things with Kopitar and Perry, longtime antagonists. Of course, Kopitar in his 19th year with the LA Kings, and Perry spent a decade and a half with the arch rival down the road, the Anaheim Ducks. And that series really culminated in a 7-game battle to the finish won by LA in 2014. Marked the beginning of the end for Bruce Boudreau's time in Anaheim. And Bob, I think you and I could have figured this one out before. Right now, the only extra 2 minutes is what we originally thought, and that was the trip on Kemper.
This is
served by
We don't normally see Chris Knobloch. I mean, I think this is going to get evened up here, Jack. Let's see what the call is. Oh, the extra minor right now on the board showing for LA. Okay, make the call, John.
As I said.
That's why we worked together all these years.
You got to start listening to me.
No.
Every once in a while I get
Los Angeles penalty for the goalie tripping. 92 and 37, 2 minutes each for roughing. Edmonton, 92, 4 minutes for roughing and a 10-minute misconduct. Power play, Edmonton.
That's a weak call.
Well, it's a power play for Edmonton. I don't know where he said the extra 4 minutes for roughing and a 10-minute misconduct.
Clark grabs Podkolzin.
They didn't announce something for LA, because if it's an Edmonton power play,
No, it is, because it's a minor for Kemper, which they announced.
Right.
And then minors to Clark and Fogle, and a double minor.
Oh, for Podkolzin. So the 4 cancels out the 2 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So LA's got more bodies in the box.
But the Oilers don't have Podkolzin for the next 14 minutes.
But the Oilers have the power play, and shorthanded already. That leaves them with 10 forwards, Bob. Started the game with 11-5. Now they've got 10-5 until the early stages of the third period. Oiler power play. It's 5th of the night, and it starts with Nugent Hopkins controlling off a neutral zone draw, getting it in deep for Adam Henry. Worked around the boards. Perry couldn't get there. 2-on-1 shorthanded. Kempe and Kopitar. Kempe tried to slide it across, then batted it out of midair on a deflection. Kopitar came up with it behind the net. Kempe looked like he was shooting all the way, and he's frustrated as he comes to the LA bench. Tried to set up Kopitar at the last instant, and the Kings end up without a shot on net. Here's Bouchard. That looked like end of hockey game, Bob, but the Kings don't get a shot away. Corey Perry fighting to maintain. The Kings, a couple of chances to get it cleared, and they finally execute. Quentin Byfield down the middle of the ice, trailed by Trevor Moore. Dislodged from his stick and taken by Evan Bouchard. Halfway through the extra penalty. To LA's Darcy Kemper, the initial trip, and cleared by the Kings back inside the Edmonton line. Bouchard to Darnell Nurse. He'll wrist it down deep. Jeff Skinner. Kapanen and Brown plow forward. It's Kapanen from Brown coming out of the right corner. Checked by Gavrikov, who scored the 3-0 goal for LA in the first period. Now it's Brown. Kulak sent it across. Darnell Nurse looking for a lane. Kulak guides one off the half wall. Brown stapled there and rifled down the ice by Philip Thaneau. And the Kings have drained the Atco power play time down inside 20 seconds. 9.5 to go, second period. Still half a hockey game remaining. But Edmonton needs a couple, I think, in the final 10 minutes of this second period. Nurse winds it around the boards. Brown Back to the point, Kulak steps up, slap shot, and a painful block made by Mikey Anderson. Anderson unable to rise. Skinner behind the net, capping it. We saw this last night in Winnipeg. Play will continue. Anderson not in imminent danger, and now as he staggers off the ice, a steal made by Byfield over the line. Wrist shot save made by Pickard. Rebound shoveled down low by LaFerriere. Vogel out of the box. LA at full strength, and he keeps it alive for Kevin Fiala, who scored earlier in this second period on a power play to make it 4-0. Jordan Spence was absolutely blasted by Max Jones. Here's Kuzmenko forcing a turnover by Nurse. Connor Brown pinned, and he coughs it up. Kuzmenko, a pass out to the point. Blast Gavrikov, and a redirect into the waiting arms of Calvin Pickard with 8:34 remaining in the second period. LA has outshot Edmonton 20-12 and taken a 4-0 lead with a chance to officially clinch home ice in the first round of these two teams' playoff series, slated to begin either Sunday or Monday in Los Angeles. That's what we're hearing. That's unofficial. But Bob and I officially will be back in just a moment at Rogers Place in downtown Edmonton with Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Sportsnet Plus is your ultimate destination for Oilers games. Stream more matchups than anywhere else. Spectacular! Catch Oilers action all season. Plans starting at $19.99 a month. Subscribe now at sportsnetplus.ca.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Do your tires feel like hockey pucks on the road? Perhaps it's time for a new set of Atturo tires. No matter what you drive, Atturo has the right fit for you, including the all-new Trailblade HT and AZ810, premium all-weather tires for your pickup, car, SUV, or crossover. You can rest assured that Atturo tires will get you through all 4 seasons. Available at Action Car and Truck, Point S, and tire shops everywhere. Find a dealer near you at atturo.com.
Sportsnet Plus is your ultimate destination for Oilers games. Stream more matchups than anywhere else. Spectacular! Catch Oilers action all season. Plans starting at $19.99 a month. Subscribe now at sportsnetplus.ca.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
Face-off right side of Calvin Pickard, trailing 4-0. And again, I mean, it's hard to find fault with what Pickard's done tonight. Quinn Hudson off the draw. Little give and go with Max Jones. Hudson tried to center. Guy who was outstanding this year for the Terriers. 23 goals, 50 points, helping lead Boston the NCAA championship game. That was played Saturday night. 48 hours later, he's making his NHL debut. Here's Malott. Up top for the Kings in the offensive zone. One-timer and a leaping save made by Pickard, who stretched way out to grab that by Fiala. I think it was heading wide, and now Malott's some pushing and shoving. And I'll tell you what, Jeff Malott had a titanic tilt with Brandon Carlo in one of his first games for Los Angeles when he was called up from the farm. Great fight, one of the best we've seen all season long. More on Hudson, though, Bob, a local angle.
So Rob Hudson, his father, lived in Edmonton. He told me today on Oilers Now from the time that he was 7 or 8 until he went off to go play at college. So he grew up watching the Oilers of the 80s. His friends all wanted to be Oilers of the 80s, and he's always kept an eye on the Edmonton Oilers. Went to University of Chicago, Illinois, and played college hockey there. And
played minor pro in Muskegon for the old Lumberjacks.
Yep.
And 3 kids from the suburbs of Chicago.
There's a 4th one coming, too, a 4th boy coming.
What's his name? Do you have that for me?
I would, if you give me a second, I can get on.
I just want to make sure you've got all the prospects covered. Cole, a heck of a player, won gold with the World Junior team, Team USA, this past winter. Oilers work it through the neutral zone. Trailing 4-0, Janmark bumps it down low. Brant Clark. Nice play by Nurse to hold the zone. Darnell Nurse made his NHL debut against the LA Kings. Quinn Hudson doing the same. Here's a penalty coming against Edmonton, and Brent Clark behind the net taking off the puck, and now we'll have a slash call with 7:17 to go in the second period. Bob, we're barely halfway through the hockey game, and we have seen 11 power plays already.
And the problem is the Oilers don't have McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman on theirs.
Skinner this time slashing at 12:43.
Oh.
Yeah, got the stick in on the hands of Andrei Kuzmenko.
If you say so.
Yeah, it's not much. I mean, I think both sides, like you said early, the standard was established, and that's the one thing I'll say about the veteran officials. They haven't deviated from that, Bob. You said they're calling everything. They are calling everything.
This is game management 101. We're managing this game so we can manage the series. Well, if this is going to be the way the series is going to go and Edmonton gets all their...
Did Perry take an unsportsmanlike conduct? He's getting the gate here. Wes McCauley is sending Corey Perry off. Now, there's 2 minutes up on the board. It's possible he just took a 10. But there's also, I didn't see the T sign. Now, we saw the T sign improperly applied a couple of games ago when it, in fact, was a 10-minute misconduct.
It's a 5-on-3 here, Jack.
I think it's 5-on-3. And Corey Perry's gotten a 2 and a 10, because if it was only 2, he'd be in the box. But instead, so now the Oilers are going to play with 9 forwards until about 17 minutes are left in this hockey game. Max Jones.
They just got to get through this game tonight.
Yes. And what you mean by that is no further injuries.
Yeah.
Off the draw. Here's Adrian Kempe. 5-on-3 for the LA Kings with 7 minutes to play in the second period. Looking to put this game away, already leading 4-0. Kopitar and Kempe trading the puck up top. Oilers in a tight box. Nugent Hopkins defending between circles. Emberson. Here's a blast and a block by Nurse. Did that shatter his stick?
It did.
5-on-2.5. 5-on-2.5 right now. Kopitar, Kempe, loading, shooting, and a glove save made by Pickard. And that's a good save by Pickard because it enables Nurse to grab a stick or at least be replaced. The Oilers are going to actually get 3 fresh bodies out there with 1:23 left in the 5-on-3 and 6:40 to go in this second period. Kempe's frustrated, number 1, by being stopped, but number 2, putting that puck in the leather of Pickard with no rebound and the ability to keep that play moving. Josh Brown, freshly called up on an emergency basis, out on the 5-on-3 with Adam Henrique and Brett Kulak. Kempe off the draw, steps up, swings to Kopitar. Waits. Fake the pass to Kempe, gives it up instead for Fiala. Now Kopitar, right side of the net. Kempe up top, right of the circle. Loading, Kempe, thought about a one-timer, gives it up. Kuzmenko shot, tipped, kicked out Pickard, then a sprawling save. Kuzmenko stopped a second time. Fiala, Kempe in tight, Kopitar, right side of the net. Kempe, right face-off dot. Kopitar threw it in front, tipped away from Byfield and slung down the ice by Adam Henrique. 35 seconds left in the 5-on-3.
They've kept their first unit out here the entire time, up by 4 goals.
Here's Kempe dragging his way in while they're trying to put this game out of reach. Kopitar, Kempe, right face-off dot. Here's Philip Deneau. Also, practice potentially for the postseason. How often do you get a 2-minute 5-on-3? Fiala, a little give and go down low with Byfield. Fiala shoots, and that went off both posts and stayed out. Fiala went post to post. It stayed out, and Calvin Pickard able to get on top of it.
Nurse is going to get a penalty. He fell on Byfield. He's going to the box.
Byfield's hurt, or at least shaken up.
He'll be fine. It's a penalty to Nurse, though.
How's that guy on Long Island?
His son got drafted yesterday.
Is that right?
In the OHL draft.
Tell the story.
Nikolai Kulemin. I thought he was going to be okay. It was a hard play by Eric Gryba on Nikolai Kulemin.
I don't think he played another NHL game. Certainly out for that season.
Yeah, Jackie didn't play another NHL game. Ever since then, I stopped playing a doctor.
We will now go to review.
They're going to review this on Nurse. What are they looking for here, Bob?
Well, I mean, this play happens a fair amount. It's not like he punched the guy in the face when he was down like we saw the other night when...
Well, the second cross-check with Byfield already on the ice doesn't help here. Byfield has gone down underneath. That's what you're a little concerned about if you're an Oiler fan.
Yeah, they gotta...
Is Nurse that second cross-check with Byfield down.
I know you're frustrated, and I know Byfield's sitting there chiseling in a 4-0 lead on a 5-on-3.
Trying to jam that puck home that went off the post from Fiala. Fluttered to the other post and stayed out. And now they're reviewing a call here with 5:24 to go in the period.
The big issue is it suspension worthy?
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
He's got a prior history.
That second cross-check. First one really isn't a big deal. It's kind of a ragdoll down, but then it's the cross-check when Byfield's already down. That's the one where, I mean, the initial ragdoll's next to nothing. I don't know. I don't think that's suspension worthy. I mean, I realize I'm the Oiler announcer.
Yeah,
but
no, I agree with you. I don't think it is, but the way this game's been managed, I don't trust any of the calls out on the ice right now.
Well, I mean, if Nurse gets tossed from this game, what ultimately is the big deal? It's the suspension you're worried about.
Here's the call coming from Johnny Bear.
After review, it's confirmed 25 Edmonton, 5 major in-game misconduct for cross-checking.
He's gone. I don't think this will be suspendable, though. Certainly not beyond the last regular season game, which, if this score holds, is meaningless anyways. What it does mean in the here and now is that the 5-on-3 is in effect for another 7 seconds, and then the Kings will get a continuous power play basically for the balance of this second period, because there's only going to be a 24-second differential. So it'll be 5-on-4 essentially for the entire rest of the way here in the second period, unless LA takes a penalty, which the way this game has gone certainly wouldn't be surprising. Edmonton has had 5 power plays of its own, failed to capitalize on any of them. So 5-on-3 for 7 seconds. And then a 5-on-4 goes into effect for 4 minutes and 53 seconds. Off the face-off, Vogel taps it back. Here's a drive by Moore that was blocked by Josh Brown. Another one-timer and a save Pickard on Drew Doughty. Just as the 2 penalties expire. So now Jones and Skinner will come out. It's no longer a 5-on-3, it's a 5-on-4 for a full 5 minutes. And that covers essentially the rest of the second period, which has 5:17 remaining. Vogel, a goal and an assist tonight. Byfield, Gavrikov, Fiala also with a goal and an assist. Those are your LA goal scorers. 3 in the first, 1 here in the second. Off the draw, Drew Doughty. Down low to LaFerriere. Doughty blast, and that stayed out. He'll streak over and play the puck. Up the right-hand side for Deneau. Now LaFerriere into the zone, dashing in against Kulak, who rides him into the boards. 4-0 LA. Adam Henrique with a chance to clear. Pitchforks it safely out of the zone. And Doughty has to whirl back into his own end to control the puck. LaFerriere at center. So Nurse gone for the game. Right now the Oilers have 10 forwards and 5 defensemen at their disposal. They're playing 3 guys short. Up the right-hand side, 9 and 5, excuse me. Brown, drag move to the middle on a backhander, short-handed, flipped wide. Oilers have 14 skaters, Bob, for the next, 6 or 7 minutes of game action. Janmark to Cam Dineen. He'll gain the line. Driven off the puck by Kopitar, LA's #1 power play unit out with 4 minutes to go in the period. Hudson is serving this 5-minute major assessed against Darnell Nurse for cross-checking. And he's gone for the remainder of the hockey game. Kempe gives it up for Kopitar. Swung it to the opposite corner. Kuzmenko couldn't get there. Briefly held in by Turcotte, but now an attempted clear fails. Fiala knocked it down as the Oilers did not get it out. Fiala slap past to Kopitar. Stepping in, a drive by Kempe, and a save made by Pickard. It was Dineen who didn't get the puck out initially, but when Kopitar has it stolen, the Oilers with another attempted clear that fails. Kuzmenko holds the zone. High slot, Kempe gets it back from Kopitar. One-timer rifled by Fiala, and a save by a steadily peppered Calvin Pickard, who's made 21 stops on 25 shots. And now Janmark with some rough stuff on Turcotte after the whistle. 3:19 to go in the period. Still 3 minutes left on the 5-minute major.
Well, the Oilers are going to have to be a little bit more disciplined here the rest of the way, Jack. You can see they're exasperated and frustrated, and it's a little bit understandable, but Colson, I was a little surprised. That was deemed a misconduct. Perry, we're not sure what was said there with the veteran officials. And
we're guessing a magic word.
Or two.
Kopitar wins the face-off.
That frankly we've all used
Turned over by
before.
Kempe. Sent in deep by Nugent-Hopkins. Bob, I don't know what you're talking about. My language is always clean. Here's Kempe. Working his way in left to right for Kuzmenko. Gives it up Fiala. Around Nugent-Hopkins. Back to Kempe. He's open. He shoots and missed high glove. Rebound taken by Kuzmenko. Kopitar. Kempe. Kuzmenko between circles. Kempe left face-off dot. Tried to center for Turcotte. Broken up. High bounce. Held in by Kopitar. Down low Fiala. Out-muscled for the puck by Brown initially. Then dragged his way to the middle of the ice. Unable to get a shot away. And it's rammed off the right-hand boards and out by Kulak. Kemper's pass too far for Kuzmenko. He'll skate into it. Right circle pursued by Dineen. Then smashed against the boards by Emberson. Here's Dineen with an attempted clear that'll be settled by Drew Doughty. Deneau. Top of the right circle. One-timer Doughty missed the net. Stepping on is Trevor Moore. Picked up by Edmonton and cleared by Emberson. 2 minutes to play in the period. Kemper, long stretch. Deneau, middle of the ice. Backdoor play, and unable to finish was Warren Fogle. Set up by Trevor Moore. LaFerriere fell down. Janmark with a chance to clear. Fogle stripped him. Deneau had his stick held. Another penalty coming, and what do we have here?
It's on
Holding
LA.
the stick.
It's on Deneau.
Deneau was trying to sell that his stick was held. But now let's get the call.
LA 24, minor penalty, holding the stick.
There it is. So that will wipe out the remaining minute 31 on the 5-minute major to Darnell Nurse. We'll skate 4-on-4 for the remainder of the second period, and then Edmonton will have an abbreviated power play of 29 seconds to start the third. Though they won't have Corey Perry available on that power play, nor will they have Darnell Nurse, who's been getting steady second unit work with the various injuries that have come Edmonton's way down the stretch in this regular season. Nevertheless, good work by the Napa Auto Parts penalty kill.
Yep, good job. I mean,
to prevent this game from getting out of hand.
Kings are 2 for 8 in the power play in this game. And they've had a lot of time to work with. You have them at 2 for 8?
Yeah, 2 for 8, you're right.
Just making sure.
Nudged up the right-hand side by Doughty. Kopitar reversing back behind for Mikey Anderson. Jeff Skinner throws his body. Creates a loose puck situation. Now Kopitar will settle it down with 90 seconds to go in this second period. And LA leading by a count of 4-0. Here's Adrian Kempe. A pass down the middle intended for Kopitar. Muscles up against Bouchard and Cam Dineen. Keeps the puck lodged against the end boards as we approach 1 minute remaining in the second. Kicked out behind the net. Kempe had it knocked off his stick by Skinner. Bouchard ahead for Dineen. And now Kempe trailing him. Kempe fell down. Nugent-Hopkins gathering steam through the neutral zone. Cam Dineen in front. And a save made by Kemper. Nugent-Hopkins. Matter of time before I did that. Nugent-Hopkins high slot looking for a shot. Not one available, so he'll drop it off for Emberson. Emberson taking it hard behind the net. Scored his first goal as an Oiler Friday against the Sharks, his old team. Tried to center for Nugent-Hopkins. Came off the boards to Kulak. He'll direct a pass to Connor Brown. 30 seconds to go. Brown's going to take a skate back to center. That forces Edmonton to tag back up. Arvidsson ratchets it up. Checked by Kempe. Got back up. Found Kulak. Left point. 20 seconds to go in the period. Here's Emberson. Looking. Forced by Doughty to give it up. Hard rim by Clark. The Oilers are on the power play here for the final 10 seconds of the period, but it looks like Edmonton will run out of time before they get a shot. Arvidsson from his own blue line lifts one toward Kemper, who knocks it down on one bounce, and there's just 12 seconds remaining on the penalty to Philip Deneau. In a penalty-filled game, the Edmonton Oilers have done some good work on the PK, but nevertheless find themselves down 4-0. They've been shorthanded 8 times, and when you're shorthanded 8 times in 40 minutes, Bob, well, it's hard to manage more than 13 shots on net against Darcy Kemper. And if you're only going to get 13 shots against Darcy Kemper, you can't expect to score.
100%. You're not going to beat him.
Well, and he's got now 6 consecutive scoreless periods against the Edmonton Oilers. He's looking for back-to-back shutouts against Edmonton. He pulled it off with 26 saves against a depleted Edmonton lineup 9 days ago. And LA now 20 minutes away from officially securing home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs against these Edmonton Oilers, who will be looking for their 4th straight win head-to-head over LA in the first round. The Kings say they're more confident because of their record on home ice, because of Darcy Kemper, because of the development of younger players like Quentin Byfield. Bob, what do you make of this potential first-round matchup? Is it any more dangerous for Edmonton?
Yes, they got a better team. They're better down the middle. They're better at center, and they're better in goal. That said, we don't know what the Oilers are. We don't.
We don't know if they're better, worse, or the same, because the team that plays Game 1 against Los Angeles...
It's going to be completely different.
Well, also, it will not have played together at any point all year.
We don't know what they got.
And can that be looked at one of 2 ways, Bob? When you haven't dressed your playoff team one time all year long, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Jack, I'm going to take it one step further. The game in L.A. that the Kings won 2-0, or 3-0 with the empty netter?
Yeah.
It's not a scoreless first period if McDavid and Draisaitl are in the lineup with the chances Edmonton have. Those guys are finding a way to get pucks to the net. Right. So,
well, and the Kings have now played 2 in a row against McDavid and Draisaitl, and your point is backed up by
without McDavid
and Draisaitl. And your point is backed up by the fact the one game they played in here, there was 1 goal scored, and it was scored by Connor McDavid.
There you go.
So, having said that, how do you handicap the series? Do you think that the diminishing returns that we've seen from an LA perspective, 7 games to 6 to 5, will be reversed to some degree?
Yes.
You don't see a 4-game sweep?
I think Edmonton can win the series in 6.
There you go.
Okay, but they're going to have to be way more disciplined than they are now.
Tonight is.
I know, but the situation with Nurse, it's got me a little nervous. You know, they don't have Ekholm.
Is there some message sending going on tonight?
Well, as long as there's no suspension.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, we saw the replay. Yes, we are Oiler announcers, but I think we also have a head on our shoulders. I didn't see anything that merits a suspension.
I'm with you. So let's see.
All right. Well, it's LA 4. It's Edmonton 0. The Kings presumably 20 minutes away from making it official as far as clinching home ice in the first round of the Pacific Division playoffs head-to-head against Edmonton. Bryn and Rob will talk more about what we've seen in the first 40 minutes and what may materialize over the next 20. We're live from downtown Edmonton, Rogers Place, LA 4-0 after 2. The Oilers Radio Network.
All right, give me something big.
The Ford It's a Big Deal event is on.
Bigger.
Get a big truck and an even bigger deal.
Love it. Now the details.
Right now, lease a 2025 F-150 STX with the Black Appearance Package from $220 bi-weekly at 0% APR for 24 months with $43.75 down. That's like $110 weekly.
Now bring it home.
Plus, there's a $750 bonus for eligible Ford owners. Hurry into your Alberta Ford store or visit Ford.ca today.
Get ready to live sky high. Sky Signature Suites offers remarkable units for rent featuring sophisticated floor plans, designer finishes, and breathtaking views. Experience resort-like amenities including a full-time concierge, yoga and fitness studios, golf simulator, plus indoor and outdoor lounges for you to live your best life. Visit SkySignatureSuites.com and make your home high above the ordinary.
the intermission. Brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Here's a blast and a block by Nurse. Did that shatter his stick? 5 on 2.5. 5 on 2.5 right now. Kopitar, Kempe, loading, shooting, and a glove save made by Pickard.
And that's our highlight zone, brought to you by Century Casinos. All in, all games, all season. Century Casinos with 3 great locations in Edmonton, St. Albert, and right next door to the Edmonton International Airport. Welcome to the Winner's Zone. Welcome to the second intermission. After 40 minutes of play, the Los Angeles Kings leading the Edmonton Oilers 4-0. The shots on goal through 40, favoring the Kings 25-13. Brent Griffiths along with Rob Brown with you, and well, Brownie, this is turning into a long night.
Yeah, it is. I think both teams would prefer just to have it be a 2-period game and go home roll right now.
Yeah.
In games like this, it's probably not going to be an Oiler victory. They're down 4. They have no Connor, no Leon. At that point, the rest of the season, regular season, is mute because LA will get second place. The Oilers will get third place. They'll meet in 5-6 days' time.
Yeah.
At that point, there's 2 things that you don't want to have happen: an injury or a suspension. Well, on one play tonight, you might have both. Nurse cross-checks Quinton Byfield twice. The second time when Byfield was down, Byfield left the game. Nurse got a 5-minute major. Is it suspensionable? It's going to be closed. It's going to be looked at. And what you do is you put yourself in a position for someone to decide whether you get to play next game or not. Nurse is a repeat offender. If they decide to suspend him for that, is it 1 game? Is it 2 games? Now, it was not horrific, but don't put yourself in that position. It was not a smart play by Darnell Nurse on that. And if you're the LA Kings, your young stud centerman, Quinton Byfield, left the game. His face was into the ice, and Nurse drove it in again. So 2 things you don't want to happen is you don't want an injury and you don't want a suspension. Here's Bo hoping that Byfield is not injured and Darnell Nurse is not suspended.
Not even sure where to go with that one because, as Bob pointed out, he's a little nervous about it because he doesn't know. And he absolutely should have been. To me, there was really no call for that. But it's just, without Ekholm going through the next series, the thought of not having Darnell Nurse for the first 2 games,
well,
they're putting themselves in a spot here. Well, Darnell's put them in a spot.
Well, he has. Now, we have no idea if there will be a suspension or not, but you gave the ref an opportunity. We saw a couple years ago in the playoffs where Darnell, or was it last year, where Darnell went in and started a fight. I guess that was a few years ago.
Yes.
And again, he put himself in a position where the suspension was possible. If we were to watch Drew Doughty do that to Connor McDavid in a game, we'd be screaming up here.
Right.
So there's just no need for that. You're this close to the playoffs. You already got a ton of injuries, ton of players. You got question marks. You've lost Ekholm for at least the first series. It was just not something that Darnell Nurse needed to do. And, this game, it doesn't matter. But if he misses anything after this, it just puts the team in a tough spot. So it will be looked at whether anything happens because of it. I don't know, but don't. You just don't. There's no need for that right now with the most important game starting in 5 days' time.
There's been a little discussion. There was certainly, as I walked around the press box here after that first period, about the officials kind of officiating this game to make sure that nothing gets carried over to the next game. And hey, listen, you've played in the Western Hockey League. I covered it. I used to see that on a regular basis, but you just can't lose your cool when you see all these penalties. You've just got to find a way just to play your way through it if it's possible.
Well, most of the penalties called have been penalties, so it's not as though they're making it up. Yeah, the refs are doing that, and what the refs are trying to do is keep away what we just saw.
Yeah. But it's increasing it, don't you think? Don't you think the patients are good? The guys are starting to lose their cool a little more?
I don't think you cross-check a guy in the back of the head because you're mad that you got a penalty earlier. So no, I don't think you lose your cool on another player because you're mad the ref gave you a hooking penalty. So to me, I understand what the refs were doing, and
you just can't do that.
No, you can't. Yeah. There's no need for it. So we'll see what happens. But the one thing that we've seen, we've got a good look at the Oilers penalty killing units.
Yes, we have.
We have seen a lot of the LA Kings power play and how they're probably going to look in the playoffs, because they got their full team dressed and they're going 5 forwards. So the Oilers are going to have a lot of video that they're going to be able to watch Thursday, Friday, Saturday until the series starts on what the LA Kings are doing on their power play. I think their power play is going to be more potent because of the 5 forwards, but it also is something that you can take advantage of, because the Oilers are very good at attacking from their penalty killing units.
Right.
And all of a sudden now it's an Adrian Kempe or Kuzmenko or a Fiala. Those are the guys that are going to be playing defense. So I'm going to throw it out there that if the Kings go with 5 forwards on their power play in the playoffs, at some point the Edmonton Oilers will score a shorthanded goal.
Okay, Rob, thanks. We'll talk to you coming up on the post-game show. We'll take a break and come back with more. It's 4-0 Kings over the Oilers after 2 periods of play. At the intermission is brought to you by End of the Roll Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
End of the Roll Flooring Centers is not only Canadian owned and operated, but we've been your go-to flooring center since 1986. The reason is simple. We make your flooring project easier. Rather than a tiny sample, upload a photo of your room at endoftheroll.com and instantly see what your dream flooring looks like in your house. Thousands of styles just clicks away. End of the Roll Flooring Centers. We've been flooring Canadians for 4 decades. Visit endoftheroll.com.
12870 St. Albert Trail and now open at 580 Parsons Road Southwest.
Did you know the RCMP polices over 99% of Alberta's landscape? From the oil sands to the Rockies to the prairies, the RCMP has a province covered. Providing policing services to more than 1,700 communities and with over 150 career specializations, the Alberta RCMP has something to fit everyone's goals and lifestyles. Visit rcmpcareers.ca and take the next step towards your career with the Alberta RCMP. A message from the Government of Canada.
Stay connected with your community and enjoy the latest updates and exclusive access to concerts and events by becoming an 880 CHED Insider. Don't miss out on a single moment. Sign up now at 880ched.com and click on CHED Insider Newsletter to become a vital part of Edmonton's premier news and talk community. 880 CHED, Edmonton's news, today's talk, where Edmonton stays informed and entertained today and every day.
This is Global News at the second intermission. I'm Zach Ferguson. A body was found in the parking lot of the Holyrood Community Centre near 94th Street and Holyrood Road yesterday afternoon. Police say the death appears to have been suspicious. The Alberta RCMP are launching a new non-emergency line. People across the province will be able to make police reports by calling 310-RCMP now. They're saying it's for calls that do not pose an immediate or potential threat to life. The city is looking into increase awareness about its coyote management strategies and is calling on Edmontonians to play their role in the play. The city is using high-intensity hazing to get the coyotes to move on and make them uncomfortable in residential neighborhoods. Liberal leader Mark Carney, campaigning in Montreal today, is promising to move forward on creation of Defence Procurement Canada, a new agency that upgrades current defence initiatives. Elsewhere, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre was also in Montreal pushing for a tough-on-crime agenda, allowing judges to impose consecutive life sentences. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh was campaigning in Toronto, promising to ensure 35,000 nurses are hired in the next 5 years. I'm Zach Ferguson. Your next scheduled newscast will be after the game on 880 CHED.
Looking for custom flags, banners, or canopy tents? Aurora Flags and Banners has a dedicated team to provide you with custom solutions and quality products. Aurora Flags has proudly serviced Canadian businesses and organizations for more than 30 years. Get a quote today at auroraflags.com.
Rogers is Canada's fastest and most reliable internet. We're made for Oilers fans. You can stream Brown's scoring down in the basement. And there it is! Watch Leon light the lamp in the living room. Spectacular! Connor scoring in all corners of the house. And Nurse notching a game winner in the nursery. Very quietly, of course. Rogers, proud partner and fan of your Edmonton Oilers.
Edmonton comes all the way back!
When it comes to your new home, nothing should stop you from getting exactly what you want. Coventry Homes puts your needs front and center. They won't deke past your questions about customization, and making changes won't get you sent to the penalty box. With their customizable designs and flexible options, your game-changing home is within reach. Score big with flexibility. by Coventry Homes, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers.
Looking for custom flags, banners, or canopy tents? Aurora Flags and Banners has a dedicated team to provide you with custom solutions and quality products. Aurora Flags has proudly serviced Canadian businesses and organizations for more than 30 years. Get a quote today at auroraflags.com.
At the intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Bryn Griffiths back at Rogers Place. Let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. Detroit Red Wings were 6-4 winners tonight over the Dallas Stars. Cam Talbot with 24 saves to help Detroit to the victory. Went to a shootout tonight. Montreal needed 2 points, only got one. Lost to Chicago 4-3. Florida Panthers on home ice, beaten by the New York Rangers 5-3. JT Miller with a goal and 1 assist in that one. Jonathan Quick played tonight for the Rangers. Utah all over Nashville 7-3. Logan Cooley with 1 goal and 2 assists. Clayton Keller 2 goals and 2 helpers. And in Vancouver, they are midway through the third period. It's tied at 1 between the Canucks and the Sharks. That's your out-of-town scoreboard, which is brought to you by Pizza 73, the official pizza of the Edmonton Oilers. Hey, Bakersfield, by the way, in the American Hockey League, they'll be hosting Abbotsford on Wednesday night. Then they'll close out the season over the weekend. But like I said, they are not moving on. They have been eliminated from the playoff contention. Hang in there. The third period is on the way. At the intermission is brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring. This is your Ford Dealers NHL Hockey on the Oilers Radio Network.
At the intermission has been brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
Today you can score at A&W. Enjoy a juicy grass-fed beef mama burger and fries for only $5. Available in-store or on the A&W mobile app at participating locations in Oil Country. This fantastic deal is available all day today at A&W.
Did you know that there are 9 Napa Auto Parts stores serving the greater Edmonton area and have been doing so for more than 50 years? Since Napa first opened in Edmonton, the community has grown and vehicles have changed, but you can always trust Napa Auto Parts to provide you with the expert know-how and the best vehicle parts. And if that isn't enough, every time you visit a Napa Auto Parts store when you present your AMA card, you receive an additional 10% discount on all retail parts and accessories. Visit your local Napa Auto Parts store for more offers and expert know-how. Napa Auto Parts is a proud fan of the Edmonton Oilers.
When was the last time your electricity and natural gas provider made you feel like this? Low rates, no strings attached, year-round perks, and local energy experts who always have your back with Encore by EPCOR. Find that carefree energy feeling at encore.epcor.com/carefree.
Customers are free to purchase natural gas or electricity services from a retailer of their choice. For a list of retailers, visit ucahelps.alberta.ca or call 310-4822 toll-free.
Today you can score at A&W. Enjoy a juicy grass-fed beef mama burger and fries for only $5. Available in-store or on the A&W mobile app at participating locations in Oil Country. This fantastic deal is available all day today at A&W.
At the intermission, brought to you by End of the Row Flooring Centers. Let's get flooring.
We bring you back live to Rogers Place, our Legacy Heating and Cooling broadcast booth alongside Bob Stauffer, Jack Michaels with a call of tonight's game. The Oilers and Kings in a penalty-filled hockey game that has seen 14 combined power plays through 40 minutes. It's Los Angeles 4 and Edmonton no score. Fogle and Fiala with a goal and an assist. Byfield and Gavrikov with the other goals. 3 in the first for LA, 1 more in the second. 2 power play goals for the Kings in 8 opportunities, including an extended 5-on-3 and a 5-minute major whistled against Darnell Nurse, who's gone for the game.
Well, there's got to be more discipline. We know that. There's some exasperation and frustration. Second of the back-to-back.
But Golson and Perry serving the remainder of their 10-minute misconducts in the box. It's actually Edmonton on a power play for the first 12 seconds of this third period as we drop the puck high atop center ice. Nugent-Hopkins pulls it back against Trevor Moore. Kulak and Bouchard trade the puck. LA 20 minutes away from securing home ice advantage in this upcoming first-round playoff series between the Oilers and the Kings. Bouchard takes a shot, redirected, saved Kemper in the rebound, deflected, landed on the top of the net, still sitting there and whistled down. Wow. Kemper had a redirect right off his pads, and then the Oilers put the rebound above the crossbar on the top of the net.
I don't think you'd see that happen again off the deflection. I don't think you could make that happen if you tried 99 times out of 100. Crazy.
Went off Doughty.
Yeah.
Doughty playing banged up off the draw, shot by Bouchard and a save. Darcy Kemper looking for back-to-back shutouts at the expense of the Edmonton Oilers, whom he bageled 9 days ago with 26 saves.
You know, the Oilers went to the 7th game of the Stanley Cup Final, Jack. It's about self-preservation to a certain degree here tonight.
Wrist shot redirected wide. Oh, no question, especially with what's gone on the last couple of weeks, where the Oilers have tried to bring some guys back only to see them re-aggravate old injuries or pick up new ones. Here's a 2-on-1. Deneau and Fogle. Fogle waits, shoots, and missed left side against Calvin Pickard.
What a chance he had.
And that whistled off the boards all the way back to center. Kempe on the reload, gives it up for Gavrikov. Wrist shot blocked, second one blockered aside by Calvin Pickard, who's played very well tonight. He's really battled. 22 saves, 4 goals against. Does not begin to tell the tale of the pressure that Calvin Pickard has been under tonight. His team has managed 15 shots at the other end. Here's Quinn Hudson. Took the rookie lap. First NHL game tonight. Ineligible for the postseason, of course. Wristed in front and taken away by Jordan Spence. This is going to be waved off for icing by linesman Caleb Apperson and reset for Josh Brown. 90 seconds into this final period.
And the Kings, with the 4-goal lead, can afford to sit back, and they call it a 1-3-1. A lot of nights it looks like a 1-1-3.
Jim Miller's club lost in 5 games to Edmonton last season. Upgraded in net. Slung toward the Oiler net from center. Calvin Pickard left in the corner. Adam Henrique. Kings looking for victory number 47 of the year. That would match Edmonton. But LA has lost 4 fewer games in regulation than the Oilers have. Max Jones will send it in deep. Oilers sitting on 99 points will get one more crack at a 4th 100-point campaign. Cam and Bob will have the call for you. Game 82 from San Jose. That'll be an 8:30 Mountain puck drop on Wednesday night.
They're missing you on the TV side tonight, Jack. I'm getting some direct messages via Twitter.
Here's Brett Kulak. Mikey Anderson up to Doughty, right-hand side. Batted out of midair by Warren Fogle. Ahead to Trevor Moore. Little spin move on Evan Bouchard. Oilers are about to go 0-4 on these Amazon games. Here's Drew Doughty, right-hand side. If our admittedly rudimentary math is correct.
Well, 2 of the 4 have been with Edmonton returning back on the second of a back-to-back.
Well, and also, if they lose tonight, I believe that would be, 3 shutout losses among those 4 games.
I know they got shut out against New Jersey once.
Here's Arvidsson cross ice, and what a save by Kemper on a read to deny Connor Brown. Pushed hard off the left skate off an innocuous-looking play coming out of the corner. A sublime feed to Connor Brown.
Good play by Brown. He basically picked Mikey Anderson, knocked him to the ice, and then rifled one, and Brown's had a hot stick of late.
Arvidsson, a good look, but Darcy Kemper.
Yeah, he's stopping everything, and he's squared the shot.
What a read.
I do want to point out, they got a really good guy doing play-by-play at Prime. I think right now the best American broadcaster out there, Jack, in terms of at a national level. You know who that is, John Forsberg. He's good. He's one of the good guys, too. They've always, those guys that were in Carolina, no ego at all. You know what I mean?
Trip Tracy, a great guy. Chuck Hayton, a Hall of Famer. And Chuck's replacement, Mike Maniscalco, also a nice fella. In the meantime, Darnell Nurse handling the puck for Edmonton. Also, we should acknowledge the fact this will be the last regular season trip to Rogers Place for one of the great colleagues we've enjoyed for the last, in your case, 17 years, me 15, but In the NHL, a 45-year career, Nick Nixon, his final season as voice of the LA Kings. Wrist shot deflected, Hall of Famer in his own right. He'll call the Kings first round series for sure, then move over to the radio should LA advance beyond round one. Kevin Fiala in from the right-hand side.
That looked offside, Jack.
It did. Overari keeps it moving. Grabbed by Vasily Podkolzin. Pitchforked out to center. I thought it was a little cruel when you told Nick you hope he has only 6 games left in his career.
You know I didn't do that.
Overari up to Fiala. He'll dump it in. Kulak to Podkolzin. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins winding it up to center ice. He'll jam it in deep. Drew Doughty up the boards. Battled for in the right-hand corner of the LA zone. Nugent-Hopkins had the puck wrestled from his grasp. Fogle will bring it out. A goal and an assist in his second game back at Edmonton. Spent the last 3 years with the Oilers. Career year last season, and he surpassed those numbers this year. Goals, assists, points across the board. Here's a dish to Nugent-Hopkins. His shot flutters wide.
Edmonton's had some chances in this game.
Kemper's been rock solid. 16 saves to his credit to this point. Mikey Anderson trapped in the corner to Anze Kopitar up the right-hand side and kicked out of there by Fogle. Retrieved by Brett Kulak. 14 minutes remain in the hockey game. Brown shoots it in. LA picked up 3 goals in the first period, 1 more in the second. Kopitar off to Adrian Kempe. 1-on-1, his shot. Deflected off Dineen up on the boards. Grabbed by Kuzmenko on the rebound. Well defended by Dineen. And here comes Kasperi Kapanen. Wristed ahead, looking for Jones. Angled off the boards, but not out by Gavrikov. Edmonton in the blue and orange, outlined in white. The Kings in their early 90s unis. They've gone back to the traditional white, silver, and black of the Gretzky era. Here's Anze Kopitar. Up the right-hand side, Jordan Spence. Spence, born in Australia. Dad's a Canadian, mom's Japanese. Speaks 4 languages.
Well, that's 4 more than me.
Lead pass, left-hand side. You've got LaFerriere. Out to Moverare. Brent Clark, a shot. Blocked by Adam Henrique. He'll come up with a puck and look for Victor Arvidsson. Here come the Oilers left to right. Arvidsson had it stripped by LaFerriere.
Spot the puck a bit tonight for Edmonton.
Overare to Kevin Fiala, and it's sent deep into the Edmonton zone. Pickard ahead for Quinn Hudson. Lobbed in by Podkolzin, tracked by Brent Clark. Backhanded over to Philip Deneau. Left-hand side, Trevor Moore. I thought it was funny this morning. They asked Ryan Nugent-Hopkins what he thought of Quinn Hudson, and he goes, well, I was on the ice with him for about 3 minutes, so the jury's still out. He was joking, of course, but in this game, it's tough to really get a read on what Quinn Hudson may eventually be able to bring at the NHL level. He's served a 5-minute major.
Well, they're playing a good team that's got all their horses, with the exception really of Joel Edmondson and maybe Tanner Jeannot, but they're not missing 3 50-goal scorers from the last 3 years in this league.
No. Not to mention...
And they don't have 50-goal scorers for their team.
No, it's a balance. LA will, if LA is going to beat you, it's going to be with balance. Here's Kopitar taking an outlet pass, dishing off, rich shot, score. Adrian Kempe, who's had all kinds of chances tonight, finally buries one, making it 5-0 with his 34th goal of the year, set up on a sublime feed from Anze Kopitar.
Well, the Oilers got caught in a little bit of an overload up the ice, and they created the odd man break the other way, and there's nothing that Calvin Pickard could do. It would have had to have been a 10-bell save to pull it out of the net there. So,
candidly, he's been hung out to dry tonight.
Yep.
I mean, Pickard, the record is going to show he's given up 5 goals on 28 shots.
Just to confirm, Jack, that was Kempe and not Doughty, right?
Doughty, of course, playing this game after missing the last week and a half. He missed 47 games at the beginning of the year with an ankle injury, and he basically said, look, I'm not going to be 100% the rest of the way. Wanted to play in this game, wanted to secure the home ice. And Kempe and Kopitar enjoying the 5th goal. And what do we have? Some Shrapnel on the ice in the LA zone?
I don't know.
There's a delay
David
here.
Riddick's coming in, Jock.
Boy, that's interesting. Is that a spotter making that call?
Or are they thinking they need to protect the goalie? I don't know.
Well, I mean, Kemper's got a 6 shutout. He's 12 minutes away. That's curious, but Kemper will leave, having stopped all 16 shots through nearly 51 minutes of work. Did you see a bump at the on the previous shift where Kemper would have taken some head contact?
I did not.
Yeah. We'll try to get some amplification on that story. Walking in is LaFerriere, and he shoots wide. Rebound Fiala. That was stopped by Bouchard. Maybe it is preservation. Of course, the Kings, the front end of a back-to-back, they'll play in Seattle tomorrow. David Riddick was certainly going to see action in that game. He's 15, 13, and 2 on the year. A blast from the slot by LaFerriere, stopped by Picker. Riddick's save percentage at .890. He hasn't played in the last couple weeks. We told you Kemper 7 consecutive starts for the Kings down the stretch. As first they were chasing the Pacific Division title when Vegas clinched that. Then LA wanted to wrap up home ice, which they have with an emphatic win tonight, 5-0. And all that remains in terms of suspense in this game is what the final score will be. Moverare dumps it down the ice, and that will be an icing call whistled against the Kings. 10.5 to go in the third period. And Bob and I, again, will try to get word. I mean, Kemper's on the LA bench, so it's not if he was detected by a concussion spotter, he'd be underneath.
I'm not sure what happened there.
Is it? I mean, the only other thing I can think of, Bob, is as we talked about, 6.5 periods of scoreless hockey against Edmonton. Is LA playing some mind games here? They don't want Edmonton to get a goal in garbage time. I just to kind of break the mental situation. It just seems odd.
Yep. Who knows?
Here's Brett Kulak. It's 5-0 with 10 minutes to go. I mean, you got to give me more than that, Bob. Let's speculate a little bit.
Sometimes less is more. I think right now we're just hoping to get out of this game.
Yes, beyond the net for Kapanen. And now Max Jones. Quinn Hudson will get a few more shifts here in his NHL debut. Ran into traffic in front of the LA bench. Jones works the cycle down low for Kasperi Kapanen, being defended by Brant Clark. Steal by Trevor Moore. Up the right-hand side. He'll punch it forward and be ridden by Kulak into the corner. Carving it free for a moment was Hellenius. Up top, Mikey Anderson. Sammy Hellenius, a rookie fourth-line center. And of course, guy that the Kings...
His father was also Samuel Hellenius, and
played 155 games.
He made the hellacious decision one time to drop the gloves with George LaRock.
Here's Podkolzin up the right-hand side. I think he also had a battle with our colleague Louis DeBrusque. That might have been in the American League.
He was a big man. Here's
Alex Turcotte driving toward the net. Little give and go with LaFerriere back in front, stolen away by Corey Perry. 8:45 to go.
See, so they call all the slashes through 2 periods here, and then nothing in the third period. Put the whistles away.
Well, you can't say Edmonton didn't have its opportunities.
No, Edmonton and Edmonton was also taking the more egregious penalties.
Fiala throws it toward the net, flicked into the corner by Pickard. Rifled on net by Jordan Spence, and a routine save made by Calvin Pickard with 8:20 to go, third period. 5-0 Los Angeles. This is 40 Oilers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Hey, Paul Brandt here. You know, Alberta's a special place. From the Rockies to the Plains, it's a land of hard work and big dreams. If you're going to tackle it all, you need a truck that can keep up. That's why I can't say enough about my Ford F-150. It's more than a truck. It's a partner. Rugged toughness, serious capability, and smart features that make your life easier, like available Pro Power onboard. The Ford F-150. Get yours today at your Alberta Ford dealer and tell them PB sent you.
Celebrating 70 years in the signage industry, William Huff Advertising is the most recognized name in the game. An in-house, one-stop shop for all of your design, print, and installation needs. William Huff provides quality graphic solutions for everyone. Here in our City of Champions and throughout the nation, they are the preferred signage partner entrusted by many of the biggest corporations, pro sports teams, and organizations to bring their identity to life. Recognize the name, get in the game. WilliamHuff.com.
Real Canadian Superstore has more ways to save than any other major grocer. Check out their weekly flyer for PC Optimum offers, deals on club size, no name, and always low-priced everyday items. Visit in-store to find everything from fashion and home decor to toys and electronics. And don't forget their new Fresh Promise on produce. If your produce isn't fresh, they'll replace it and refund it. There are so many ways to save at Real Canadian Superstore. See their flyer for details.
All games, all season. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
David Riddick last played against San Jose 2 weeks ago, got the win, gave up 1 goal on 30 shots. Talked with the LA Brass during the break, Bob and I gleaning some information for them, and they basically repeated what we kind of thought is, with the game already decided, the 6th shutout for Darcy Kemper, yeah, it would have been nice, but again, playing the long game a little bit, wanting to get Riddick some extra work. He'll start the back end of the back-to-back tomorrow against Seattle. So Kemper removed basically in the interest of preservation. Here's Mo Verari, a shot, and that's dropped and held by Calvin Pickard. I suppose if he had 7 shutouts coming in and had a chance to tie for the league lead, they might have let him finish it off. That's another thing that could be in play.
Jack, the Oilers have 99 points as a team this year.
Right.
Do you think they want to get to 100 points to get San Jose the last game of the year? And Connor McDavid's got 99 points.
Well, we know Connor McDavid's going to play. They're not going to sit him out with an opportunity to get 100 points.
Right.
For a 5th season and an 8th in 10, with the other 2 years, one being shortened by a pandemic and the other by a broken collarbone. Here's Jeff Malott behind the net. Hellenius centering pass, intercepted by Janmark. Lead pass for Hudson out of his reach. And then a hard hit delivered by Janmark. Malott rifles one on net left circle, and a save made by Pickard. Turcotte hammered again by Arvidsson. A blast from distance and a save made by Pickard against Brent Clark. Moverare holds the zone. Janmark comes away with the puck, and he'll drift behind his own net with 7:45 remaining in the 3rd period. LA has done its job tonight. Kings needed to wrap it up against a depleted Oiler lineup, and they took control with 3 first-period goals, 1 in each of the 2nd and 3rd periods, and it's 5-0. Corey Perry turned it over at the LA line. Kings are going to finish 3-1 head-to-head against Edmonton this year, but again, it would be incomplete if you didn't remind people that Draisaitl and McDavid were not available for the last 2 meetings. Shot by Emerson, a save made by David Riddick. Not to suggest LA might not have come out on top. Perry trying to bait Jordan Spence into a fight, and if Spence is smart, he won't take that fight. Emberson, in the meantime, tracks down a loose puck in the corner, and he'll emerge from his own zone left to right for Kapanen, who's hit hard by Malott. Gavrikov to Malott, who goes about 6'4" and 230 pounds. He adds a little muscle to the LA lineup. It'll be interesting to see whether he gets the nod, especially if Jeannot is not healthy in time for the first round of the playoffs. Tanner Jeannot, before he got hurt, had a goal and an assist in his last 2 games for the Kings. Nugent-Hopkins to Connor Brown over the line. Tried to give it back to Nugent-Hopkins. Bouchard on a deflection, and a save made by David Riddick, who, of course, saw plenty of the Edmonton Oilers when he was the netminder for the Calgary Flames. 6:17 to play, third period. Kings are about to wrap up home ice advantage in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs head-to-head against Edmonton. Tonight it's the Kings 5, the Oilers nothing. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Hey Canada, want to make learning fun? Education Station is your local destination for the best educational toys, games, and resources to help kids grow.
My mom takes me to Education Station because she's invested in my future.
From hands-on activities to brain-boosting games, Education Station makes learning exciting for kids of all ages. Parents and teachers love them too.
Learning is so much fun.
Support local. Visit Education Station in store or online at educationstation.ca.
And inspire love of learning today.
When it comes to your new home, nothing should stop you from getting exactly what you want. Coventry Homes puts your needs front and center. They won't deke past your questions about customization, and making changes won't get you sent to the penalty box. With their customizable designs and flexible options, your game-changing home is within reach. Score big with flexibility. By Coventry Homes, the official builder of the Edmonton Oilers.
Tired of skyrocketing energy bills? Switch to clean, affordable power with Horizon Solar. Whether you want to cut costs, go green, or increase your home's value, Horizon Solar has you covered with tailored solar energy solutions. With current government incentives, there's never been a better time to make the switch. Own your power, control your bills, live sustainably. For your free assessment, call Horizon Solar today or visit horizonsolar.com to get started. Horizon Solar, where going green makes sense.
Listen on air, online, and on the Radio Player Canada app.
This is the Oilers Radio Network.
5-0 Los Angeles. A faceoff coming to the left of David Riddick, who came in for Darcy Kemper. He's faced 3 Edmonton shots on net. Kemper leaving with about 12 minutes to go in this game. LA had just scored to make it 5-0, and Jim Hiller, again, thinking no doubt about self-preservation, makes the goaltending move. Off the draw, circle to the left of Riddick. Bouchard smashed a slap shot wide, but Colson held the rebound in for Adam Henrique. His centering pass ticked off the glove of Riddick, grabbed by Fiala, and he was successfully able to launch that back through center. Kuzmenko beyond the reach of Fiala, who eventually catches up to it and whacks it around the boards for LaFerriere. And the Kings are resting some key people. Doughty gives it up, a one-timer and a kick save made by Pickard. Boy, he has been pelted by some quality scoring chances tonight. That one off the stick of Fiala. Shot from distance by Hudson. I believe that's his first NHL shot on goal. Kicked away by Riddick.
3 slashes up the ice, by the way. Put Colson trying to make a play there.
Nugent Hopkins up the middle, broken up by Kuzmenko. Kevin Fiala looked to give it up for Sammy Hellenius. Puck bouncing in the grasp of Nugent Hopkins, and now jumping up and dishing off to Kapanen was Cam Dineen. Turned it over. Here's Sammy Hellenius to the net. Dishes off, and a wrist shot deflected up and out of play by Ty Emberson.
It's got to come. I'm not sure Kapanen's going to play in the playoffs. I mean, he's
got a lot of speed, but he's starting to turn the puck over a little bit at the blue line.
Too many.
4:53 to go, third period. And to your point, Bob, a lot of competitiveness right now in the Oilers lineup 100%. With some bodies about to come back. So we'll come back with the final 5 minutes of the Edmonton Oilers home schedule. This is their home regular season finale, and it's been all Los Angeles. 5-0 Kings, 4:53 to go. This is Ford Dealers NHL Hockey, the Oilers Radio Network.
Athletes know that to advance your career, you've got to be part of a winning team. So, what about you? Are you working for a winning team? Well, here's your chance to do just that. Brandt is a strong and stable industry leader with career opportunities across Canada. We have hundreds of positions available right now, from parts, sales, positioning technology, heavy-duty mechanics, and more. Be a part of a winning team. Earn your stripes by joining Brandt today. Find out more at BrandtJobs.com.
It's game on at City Ford.
With an all-star lineup of Ford favorites. Save up to $7,000 on select 2025 Escapes and up to $6,000 on 2025 Bronco Sports. Or finance at 0% for up to 60 months.
Plus, save up to $12,000 on select 2025 F-150s or finance at 0% for up to 72 months.
Spin the wheel and win an iPad, barbecue, Costco card, a smoker, and more.
Visit City Ford on the St. Albert Trail.
Pizza 73, the official pizza of your Edmonton Oilers. Loyal to the oil, in Edmonton we trust. Rising to the top like a pizza crust. Got the flavors to play, cooking on ice. Hunger happens, gotta score a slice. Let's go Oilers, E-Town unite. Ice District to Jasper, downtown to White. Wearing orange and blue, game on the stream. Make the right call, Pizza 73. Let's go Oilers.
737373 Pizza 73.
All games, all season. You're listening to the Oilers Radio Network.
Los Angeles 5, Edmonton no score. We bring you back for the final 5 minutes of the third period at Rogers Place. Here's a one-timer taken by Emerson, sent wide from Arvidsson. Sharp angle shot and a save made by David Riddick against Corey Perry, who then scoots it around the boards for Ty Emberson. Jack Michaels, Bob Stauffer with you, along with Brent Griffiths and Rob Brown. High atop Rogers Place, shot from distance, handled by Riddick up near the clavicle at the expense of Victor Arvidsson. 4:22 remaining in the third period. In case you're just joining us, Adrian Kempe with a goal and 2 assists. Fiala and Fogle each with a goal and a helper. Andrzej Kopitar on the score sheet twice as well. And it's been all Kings. 3 in the first, 1 in each of the second and third periods. And the Oilers have countered with just 20 shots at the LA net. But again, no McDavid, no Draisaitl, no Hyman. Vander Kane and Trent Frederick still hoping to be back for Game 1 of this playoff series, which will start in Los Angeles. Bob and I have been told either Sunday or Monday. Nothing official. That's just what we've been hearing. Centering pass deflected away by Brett Kulak. Darting down the left-hand side. Hudson had it poked away. Warren Fogle settles it for Philip Deneau. There's so many factors, especially in Los Angeles. The Lakers are in the NBA playoffs. They still share the arena with the Kings. Clippers are out in Inglewood, so that won't be a factor. But the NHL playoff schedule is impacted by so many things beyond everyone's control. So we'll just have to be patient. Sammy Hellenius around the boards. Alex Turcotte. Hopefully Cam and Bob will have an update for you Wednesday in San Jose when Edmonton plays Game 82 against the Sharks. And Connor McDavid will go for 100 points, as will the Edmonton Oilers. Kapanen in from the right-hand side. Checked off the puck by Malott. Max Jones throws it behind the net. Kapanen sealed off the puck. Clear up the left-hand side. Moverare locates Malott. And now gaining the line is Brent Clark. Shot sailing high, grabbed by Pickard, and he'll freeze it with 2:55 on the game clock. Kings have not played Kempe or Kopitar since they made it 5-0. They pulled Darcy Kemper. And Jim Hiller recognizing, especially when you look around the league, the Winnipeg Jets are probably Exhibit A around the league for the other 15 playoff contenders. Hey, we don't want to get guys banged up down the stretch.
Some might say Edmonton's done that as well here over the last few games.
Absolutely. I think the Oilers, quite frankly, with a couple bodies coming back and then re-injuring themselves, are thinking, hey, let's just get through the regular season. We have to play LA in a parking lot, we will. One-timer Kuzmenko, redirected wide by LaFerriere. And it's borne out by the statistics. I mean, Edmonton is actually 6-2 in Los Angeles in the last 3 playoff series. 6-4 in this building.
Kings have won some overtime games, Jack, as you know.
That's right. Well, the win 9 days ago was just the second for LA in regulation in the last 20 against Edmonton. They're going to get another one tonight, but both times against a depleted lineup. Here's Fiala breaking in. Shot denied by Calvin Pickard. Boy, he's played pretty well tonight. 32 saves, a lot of high danger chances. Here's Arvidsson off the rush. A shot flicked away by Riddick. Rebound cleared by Los Angeles. Looked like it was played with a high stick by Kuzmenko. Oilers come up with it. Emerson shoots it in from center off a feed from Josh Brown. Final 2 minutes at Rogers Place.
That was a hook they missed.
Malat to Hellenius up the right-hand side. Deflected away. Pass ahead for Hudson, who didn't make a touch on the puck, but they'll just keep it moving.
They're getting this one over with, let me tell you.
Chipped up the right-hand side. Could have been icing against Edmonton. Instead, it's Malat dragging his way in, then centering to no one in particular. Kings had 3 men back in the neutral zone. One of those, Jordan Spence, will trade it with Gavrikov back in his own end. Arvidsson caught an edge and fell awkwardly. And at this point, the Oilers are going to wait for the final minute 15 to elapse. Pack their bags for a significant stretch and head to San Jose tomorrow afternoon. Cam and Bob will have the regular season finale, Game 82 against the Sharks, live from the tank. And that game set for an 8:30 Mountain Time faceoff. Kulak, a shot toward the net from the right point. Blocked and cleared by Spence. Final minute of regulation. We won't need overtime tonight. LA has been the dominant team, and if you looked at the 2 lineups, that shouldn't really be a big surprise. And full marks to the Kings. They've had a strong second half. They've been deadly at home
all year.
And you have to say it. They've earned a home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. I mean, Bob, you take a look at this team.
Yeah.
They're 16-4 in their last 20 games, no matter where they've played. That's pretty good.
Well,
that's the kind of run that Edmonton has put together the last few second halves of the year.
Not this year after the 4 Nations.
Nope. It's going to be 13-13-1, as you know, in their last 27. But I think you'd agree with me, injuries have played a role in that record.
Massive.
Here's Henrique looking for Kulak down the right-hand side. Final half minute of this third period. Oilers just trying to get on the board here. David Riddick to Moverare. Flip down the middle, and looks like we're going to have a combined shutout. I don't think Cam Dineen is going to press the attack here with 10 seconds to go. He'll pull up behind his own net, and the final few seconds of the Oilers' home schedule will run off. And the Los Angeles Kings, for the first time in 4 years, will have home ice advantage in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs against the Edmonton Oilers. They close it out with a 5-0 shutout. The last 3 games these two teams have played, LA has given up exactly 1 goal. Kemper could have had a shutout tonight. He won't get credit for it as Riddick comes on in mop-out duty and stops all 5 shots he faces. The Oilers with depleted lineups, losing twice to Los Angeles in the last 9 days. 3-0 at Crypto.com Arena a few days ago, and tonight 5-0 in their home finale. What do you make of a potential lineup for San Jose? I get the feeling, Bob, that while we'll see McDavid and potentially